madness is upon us people. It just went down in Food City Center in Thompson Bowling Arena. Jamal Mashack, who they said could not score, that's all I know.
That's the great Rod Slay. He was a little pumped up after the game.
A little bit, yeah.
That's all I know. So obviously, Auburn had already won at Rupp Arena, and they had gotten a share of the SEC championship, but they did not know they had won the SEC championship outright until Alabama lost. And like many people, any buzzer beater is going to get a heck of a reaction. But if you're Auburn, you had a lot to gain from this buzzer beater. Here was their team on a bus returning from the flight. Or going to the flight. I don't know. Is this going to Scott? Do you know if this was going to the flight in Lexington?
I think it was going to.
Going to?
I think
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think I read that it was going to.
Timing wise, it almost had to be going to. This is going to the plane in Lexington when they found out they were SEC champions.
We're not sharing nothing, no. Rocky time. Hey, hold on. One time. Rocky time. Rocky time is in. Thank you.
That is Janai Broom, Dylan Cardwell, and the Auburn Tigers on their way to the plane as they find out.
I mean, you knew that this thing was inevitable, right?
You did. I mean,
made
they
it
were
a little
gonna be
more
champions,
exciting the way they walked it off for them.
But you can go to any sports bar without any rooting interest, and a shot that falls like the Michigan State shot over Maryland last week or the Tennessee shot over Alabama is going to get that exact reaction. Everybody does the same thing. Oh! Every time. If you're ever in a sports bar, like in March Madness, when a shot like that hits, it is pretty fun.
It is.
Unless you've got that team in your bracket that just lost or you've bet on the game or whatever.
Been on the other side. Been on both sides, yeah.
All right, that is going to do it for the show today. Hopefully Dunaway back with us tomorrow. We'll definitely be back, though, at 9 o'clock. Enjoy your afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow morning on The Next Round.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
All right, Auburn fans, I want you to become a member of thebarnauburn.com and join in on the fun. Whether it's recruiting discussions, off-season chatter, or the latest Auburn athletics news, we've got it all. Get $25 off your annual subscription when you sign up for your account at thebarnauburn.com today. War Eagle.
When you crave activity like we do, you belong in the Roback family. Get the best golf wear, hoodies, and activewear for men and women at Roback.com. Use promo code TNR20 to get 20% off your order. That's Roback.com, promo code TNR20.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
The World Wide Web is a large place. Find all your favorite people and content in the same spot. NextRoundLive.com is full of wonderful tidbits about the show you know and love. Find our gear, listen to your favorite personalities, follow our socials, and enjoy your trip to NextRoundLive.com.
Want more of the show? Download the app or visit nextroundlive.com for the latest podcast, The Mystery Fifth Hour, our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, and the entire Double Down Media podcast family. All at nextroundlive.com and on the Next Round app.
Take the Next Round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
You fans that have lost your season tickets through new policies, there's a lawsuit in the state of Michigan we'll tell you about later that you may want to keep your eye on. It's interesting. NFL news, including a reset running back market in Saquon Barkley. We'll get to that. A lot of college football, including Ryan Grubb addressing the media a little bit later on today. Our Emily Grace McWhorter will be in Tuscaloosa to discuss and talk with the new Alabama offensive coordinator as they get back out in spring drills. But we start, of course, with basketball. And for the first time ever, Texas A&M has beat a number one team in the AP poll. They beat Auburn last night, 83-72. You called it, LT. You said you thought A&M would get them. Did it? I get the feeling it didn't play out exactly the way you thought it would play out, though. It was a domination from the jump.
It was domination, and they led wire to wire. Obviously, they got up as many as 13. They never trailed in the game. No Denver Jones was huge. I don't know. I was talking to Taylor before the show, and I don't know how much was said on the shoulder injury or the shoulder that was irritated, at least, for Janai Broome. But Broome wasn't himself. But without Denver Jones, I mean, that was a big loss. And then, we talked about the identity of Texas A&M. The one thing they consistently do is rebound, especially on the offensive glass, and they were completely dominant.
Yeah, I don't sometimes, though, it's just one of those deals where a coach, there's just a bad matchup. And we talked about it yesterday. Buzz Williams has performed very well against Bruce Pearl. In fact, Stephen Pearl mentioned it yesterday about how much trouble they have with Buzz Williams' teams. Nate Oates struggles with Rick Barnes. Rick Barnes struggles with Bruce Pearl. I mean, you can do all of this and find a coach where it's just their style just is something you struggle with, and that has been the case for Bruce Pearl and Buzz Williams. For whatever reason, what Buzz Williams does, Bruce Pearl's teams don't react too well to. 4 of 5, Buzz has won now. 6 of 8.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to that.
100% there is.
Yeah. Look, and I, let me get this out of the way. We mentioned last week that we had never seen this before, or was it was 2 weeks ago, with Dennis Gates saying, please don't come on the court. Like, I'm not liking this trend.
That's the new thing now, isn't it?
Yeah, like, hey, look, let's eat the $250,000 or whatever. Let's just give it up in NIL. But if we've never beaten a number one before, I'm not a big court storming guy, but if you've never done something before in the history of your program, let them go.
I mean,
right?
like Bruce and Auburn, they were playing right along with it. They're like, I'll go and get my team off the floor right now. I'll shake your hand with 2 seconds to go. I'll get my team off the floor. We'll just wave at everybody else, and y'all can rush and do whatever you want.
Yeah, and I don't blame Bruce. So, hey, look, if we're going to lose, we might as well take the money.
That's right.
From everyone, or from a person who's an Aggie grad, everyone surprised no storming the court. I wasn't. Aggies are a different kind of fan base.
Oh, stop.
They stormed the field when they beat Alabama in football.
It's a dumb text. I don't know who it is.
Yeah, I won't give you the name. It did look like the students were coming down, getting ready to rush the court.
Well, and I thought they were going to, because Buzz was never on the mic like Dennis Gates.
No, he didn't go
he
the
was
extra
just
step.
doing
He
this.
was doing the stop.
So, guys and girls in these corners could act like they didn't know the difference and just take off. I was shocked. They had the one guy that ended up out there in the middle.
Tom Hart said, well, one guy made it out of the court.
It was a kid.
Was it a kid?
Yeah, the kid ran out of the middle.
He got to the SEC
and got out there and was like, and he comes running back to his parents.
Yeah, I'm assuming that doesn't get you the fine.
Yeah, no, not that.
Yeah, I thought for sure we would see the court storm last night. But, hey, what a performance from – and this is what you more expect. And this is one of the reasons that we talked about Auburn being one of the greater regular season teams we've ever seen, because night in, night out, you can play a team that coming into a game has 9 losses and 7 conference losses, and they can beat you on their own court. That's how good this league is.
And Auburn is not likely to play Texas A&M in the NCAA tournament, although it is not an impossibility with as many teams as the SEC is going to have in it. But odds are you don't have to face Buzz Williams and A&M. But I think this shows us how difficult it is. It just further drives home the point how difficult it is to win a national championship in college basketball, because all it takes is one night. Nobody thinks Texas A&M's a better team than Auburn. There's not one person. Buzz Williams doesn't think that.
Not at all.
Buzz Williams knows Auburn is a better basketball team. Buzz Williams knows how to play Auburn and can defend them. And you said it in the pre-show when I brought this up, or the pre-show, like we do a pre-show meeting. You said it before the show. You and I were sitting here talking. I was like, man, Buzz Williams just owns Bruce Pearl of late. And you're like, how can he not do something close to that against everybody else they play?
Yeah, no, they had lost 4 straight.
I know.
So if they're so damn confusing defensively or whatever they do,
I know.
How do they just lose 4 games to inferior teams compared to Auburn?
It makes no sense. But it does show you why it is so difficult to win an NCAA tournament, because through the stretch of 6 games that it takes to win it, odds are you're going to run up against a team that does something that frustrates you.
Yeah.
We see it all the time. You just run up against that team that frustrates you.
A&M's a team that I would bet wins their first round game, but I wouldn't bet right now that they'd win their second round game. They could be a Sweet 16 team. They could be an Elite 8 team.
Yeah, but
I don't consider them a Final Four team.
I mean, there's a good chance they end up being 7 or 8, and if they're a 7 or 8, they're playing in a toss-up game.
Yep.
I think their problem really is, they win as a team literally when they're forcing turnovers, when they're crushing the glass, and then they lose because I don't think they've got a go-to guy. Like Wade Taylor IV, coming into the season, he was in and out of the lineup, but he just can't. He continues to struggle. Even last night, scoring, a game high, what do you have, 15?
Yeah, I think he was second high. I think the Garcia kid had 19.
Yeah, he had. So Wade had 16 last night, but 5 of 15 shooting. They just don't have a guy that can offensively take over a game.
I want you, when Tyler comes back, we'll get to some post-game sound, including Bruce Pearl. Cut number 1, Tyler, if we can. I want you to listen to Bruce here, and then listen to Bruce, and then I want you to react to this, because it's one game. It will not impact their number 1 overall seeding. In fact, they've already won the SEC regular season. Really not a whole lot on the line. So Bruce can use his motivation. I want you to listen to what he says after the contest here, and we'll react more on what happened last night in College Station.
It's been a tough matchup for us. Been a tough matchup for me. Buzz does a great job, and systems do match up with each other, and the things that they do bother us a little bit. They do a great job of driving downhill. They do a great job, one-on-one attacking closeouts. They do a great job one-on-one in the post and attacking, and they just physically dominated us. You look at the boards. They get 24 offensive rebounds. We get 16 defensive rebounds. They physically manhandled us, and if this team is going to continue to win, we're going to run up against teams like Texas A&M, or like Florida, or like Duke, that are big and physical. And now, earlier in the year, we beat Houston, we beat Iowa State. Those teams were also pretty physical, but Texas A&M's physicality obviously dominated the game tonight.
There is a rhythm to rotation, though. And without Denver playing, then Pettiford, instead of coming off the bench, he's in the starting lineup. And I think it throws things a little out of whack. Like, to me, at times, Pettiford can be the best or second best player on the floor behind Broome.
No doubt, but his passing, I don't want to say it was lazy, but there was no crispness to his passes. Like, sometimes they were one-handed, and it just wasn't a zip on them that would allow the ball to move from that person to the next person a little fast. The offense wasn't playing at the same pace as it did when Denver's in there. I mean, Pettiford, I love Pettiford.
Yeah,
He's
but he
player.
has been great. Look, and he is going to be fantastic in the next couple of years, but he is more comfortable coming off the bench. And you just look at the overall bench production. A&M's bench outscores Auburn 36-10. I just think the domino effect of Denver not playing in this game was too much to overcome.
Yeah, and the rebounding. Stephen Pearl talked on the show yesterday about the rebounding. Texas A&M, that's just where they dominate.
Yeah.
I mean, that is one of those things you ask, how can they not do what they do to Auburn against other teams? The one thing they do against other teams is rebound. That team is a rebounding monster.
And I've got this number here that I was going to set up after the Bruce soundbite here, because Stephen said on our show yesterday, they throw it on the rim, and a lot of times they don't make it. They just go get it and throw it on the rim again.
Yeah, they're not a great shooting team. I mean, he ran through the numbers.
And it was when A&M took a 44-34 lead. What's his last name?
Wade
Taylor. He missed a three-point shot.
Yep.
He got his own rebound about halfway in the lane, instantly put it back up, missed that shot, got his own rebound again at the rim, and put it in for 2.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of crap you don't let happen.
Well,
no,
but they do it to everybody.
Yeah, and to put in perspective, Auburn had 25 total rebounds. A&M had 24 offensive rebounds.
41 to 25 on the boards. I mean, it's hard to overcome that.
And here's the stat that'll blow your mind. Texas A&M got 60% rebounds on their missed shots. Of the shots they missed, 60% of them they got the rebound on. That's an amazing stat. In fact, it's the highest in a game versus an AP top 5 team in the last 15 years on the offensive boards. So 60% of the time when A&M missed the shot, they got their own rebound. It's hard to win.
No, I mean, it's near, I mean,
bonus possessions.
For Auburn, it was impossible to win in that situation. Yeah. And look, I mean, it's one game, and your only concern if you're an Auburn fan is if you run up against a team that can do this to you in the NCAA tournament. Yeah. And, that's the whole thing about the NCAA tournament. It's all about matchups. Like, I'll use Alabama as an example. That was a really good Alabama team that we were talking about yesterday that played in Louisville. They ran up against San Diego State, and that was a bad matchup for Alabama.
And they threw them around the floor. They were more physical.
If Alabama draws, was San Diego State a 5 or a 4? Whatever they were. If Alabama draws probably any other team that was still in that bracket, they advance to the Elite Eight.
This is one of the reasons that there is something when you're big and athletic, you can play good defense and you can get rebounds. It's want. And it's one of the reasons, like, St. John's is not a great team, really. Rick Pitino in year 2, he's got some really good players, but they're buying into playing defense. And Buzz's team buys into rebounding. They don't have a guy bigger than 6'8". I mean, when you look at Auburn is one of the longer athletic teams in all of basketball. That's why they block so many shots. But there's no reason A&M should out-dominate you on the boards like that. It's effort.
Yeah, by the way, I mean this point.
And they do it to a lot of different people. It just shows you they all buy in to crashing the boards.
I made this point on the Zone Sunday night. What percentage of people do you think are going to have St. John's making a deep run?
None.
None?
I don't think a lot of people will.
You don't?
Just that
just
Pitino
the opposite.
name.
That Pitino name.
There'll be a there'll be a 2 or 3 seed.
Well, I mean, people that hadn't watched them.
Well, vast majority of people that fill out a bracket haven't watched St. John's. That was going to be my point. Like, how many people do you think can name one player on that team? Seriously, though, how many people can name one player? Nobody. Yeah. I can't. I can't name a player on their team.
I don't think. I think the problem though is
people are going to have St. John's making a deep run.
Maybe.
Because
what kind of value? It depends on the scoring of your bracket. Like, what kind of value you're going to get? They're going to be a 2 seed, right?
Maybe a 3.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you're going to get a lot of value with that team.
But people are going to buy Rick Pitino.
Maybe so.
Yeah. Hey, Tyler, give me cut 2. One more from Bruce Pearl last night as Auburn falls for only the 3rd time this year. Their first SEC road loss in their final SEC road game in this massive historic year for Auburn. They're at home against Alabama on Saturday, and Bruce was asked if this team was focused on the game coming out, after the celebration of winning at Rupp, getting a share of the title, then on the transit back to campus, finding out that Alabama is beaten on the buzzer, and they're outright SEC champions, and the rolling of tumors and everything that went on, the celebration that night, was his team focused?
There's any question if your guys were completely focused? Or
I mean, I don't think it was a full. First of all, we respected our opponent. We respected Texas A&M. And obviously Denver Jones, we feel is, I feel like he's the best defensive guard in our league. And obviously, if you look last year, A&M had 22 points at halftime at our place. He did it. Wade Taylor struggled to score. Denver's the best one-on-one cover guy I got. So obviously missing Denver was a factor. And then you let those guys get downhill, and then they rotate and they rebound the backside. It just plays right in their hands. If you can line some guys up in front of them and keep them in front, the teams that could do that, and we were able to do it last year. We did not do it tonight.
So the question becomes, can someone else out-physical Auburn down the road? Is there teams in the country right now that you think, all right, they can do to us what Texas A&M did, sort of what Florida did. Florida was physical inside, but, Alabama will see them tonight, but they're so great outside scoring the basketball as well. So it's not really the same style. Auburn beat Tennessee, who sort of plays that way, 53-51 down in Neville.
That was a rough game. Tennessee is the obvious. You've heard the Pearls talk about, maybe it was Steven on the show, and they've got a really good relationship with Todd Golden, talking about Florida is the most physical team in the SEC. I did find it interesting after the game that the 3 teams that Bruce Pearl brought up that were physical teams are the 3 teams that actually beat them.
That's right. That's right. But he did point out we beat Houston, beat Iowa State, who are physical teams. But he did say this last night, quote, when talking about the game, all you have to do is throw Auburn out of the way. He was using that to motivate his guys. I'm sure that if you watch this tape and you just look and say all you have to do is throw Auburn out of the way, he's challenged his guys physically when they get to the games that matter down the stretch here. Can there be another team? Like, I don't think
that's the way you're going to have to beat them. Like, I don't think anybody can go in and play crisp basketball. Like Alabama, tried to go toe-to-toe with Auburn. And, it ended up being a pretty good game, but 94-85, I mean, that's what you're typically going to get if you try to just go toe-to-toe with them. You're going to have to out-physical them.
But that's a great place to start. Alabama plays them on Saturday. Alabama's not the type of team that can out-physical them, I don't think. They would have to beat them with a great shooting game.
They can outscore you.
They can outscore you. Tennessee can out-physical you, but I don't think they score the basketball good enough.
Kentucky tried to outscore them. It didn't work.
Didn't work for Kentucky. I just don't know how many teams can do this. I haven't really, I need to watch a couple of those Big East teams to see this, couple of those Big Ten teams, but I don't think Michigan State can do it.
Yeah, like Zach says in the chat, is it possible that the Big East crappy offenses just make St. John's look that much better on defense?
Yeah,
we
say that during football season a lot, right?
No, I do believe in Rick Pitino's defensive prowess. I mean, the guy is a legendary defensive coach. Everywhere he's coached, they have been terrific defensively. But the Big East is not a great conference. Like, I will tell you where KenPom, if you'll give me 2 seconds here, where KenPom has their offenses ranked. I mean, maybe it's just a product of that. That's the thing you don't know.
You get a good game tonight, a good gauge if you want to watch and see how physical they are. Marquette and UConn tonight. I'm not sure I say Marquette right.
No, you just said it right.
Yeah, Marquette's right.
Is that right?
Yeah,
okay.
St. John's got Marquette on Saturday. So
that'd be a good test there. 2 of the best teams.
And that's in Milwaukee.
Yeah. Oh, really good test. St. John's at Marquette coming up.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you they're going to lose that game. How about that?
Oh, wow. St. John's is? Well, they've already clinched the conference.
Yeah, I mean, Marquette's going to be favored, so it's not like going out on a limb.
You ruined my viewing experience last night. You said that Texas A&M was going to beat Auburn.
Yeah, I talked to you before the show, and it was wire to wire, but it really was a yawner.
It was not an interesting game. I know it was interesting.
And I had A&M plus the 3.5. I had them at 4.5, but it went off at 3.5. So, I liked the outcome of the game, but it just aesthetically wasn't fun to watch.
Well, I mean, if you were a Texas A&M fan, if you were a gambler and had Texas A&M, and I assume if you don't like Auburn, that it was an enjoyable game to watch. But I watched it second half, I was trying not to fall asleep because I was like, they're not coming back here. They cut it to 6 one time, I think.
And they scored 155 total points. And here's what's crazy. There was 155 points scored in Thompson-Boling on Saturday, but that game played out so differently.
Yeah.
And I know it was a last-second shot from Meshack, but watching Alabama-Tennessee, that was an enjoyable 40 minutes of watching basketball.
It was probably the best enjoyable Tennessee game I'd seen in a while on Saturday.
Yeah, well, that is true. Maybe it did feel better because it was that really hard-to-watch, paint-dry Tennessee team.
Like that Sears 3, I didn't get a chance to talk about this because I wasn't here Monday, but that Sears 3 to put them up 73-70, that was one of the better shots of the season. I mean, on the road, hit that shot, boom, 73-70. I was like, God, that's a baller.
They were calling
it
game of the year.
Yeah, it was.
One of.
But does that not show you 155 one way and 155 another
style?
So Auburn,
it's weird you say that about Tennessee. As boring as their style can be at times.
We'll talk Auburn later on in the show. We'll hear from Buzz and get circled back when we look at bracketology. But we'll set the table tonight for the big one in Tuscaloosa, Florida and Alabama. What's on the line and all that coming up. The show being brought to you by a couple of our great sponsors. One of them is our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. Last night, how about that win yesterday?
Oh, my God. I got garbage cans all over. I hadn't even picked them up yet. I had to take Jack to school today. I had lanterns blown out. I don't know what the damage is.
Will it stun you to know me and Dunaway played golf in that win yesterday?
Did y'all really?
Yes, both of us did.
I was out at,
Did y'all play together?
No, we didn't. Separate courses, but I was out at Robert Trent Jones later in the afternoon. And my buddy even said, "Hey, this wind's gonna be pretty bad." And I said, I just need to be outside."
Yeah.
So we got outside, and you could hear trees cracking.
You could. I heard a tree fall in the woods while I was on the course.
Yeah, I'm not a wind. I think women hate wind more than anything because of the hair.
Right.
Yeah. Like they hate it more than actual rain.
Yeah, it was insanity. And Greg wants to remind you that if you're like Lance, you don't even know what happened to your house last night. Free no-cost roof inspection. He'll do that for you. If you did have some storm damage, he is excellent at that. He's trustworthy. He's been local here for over 20 years. He's got a great working relationship with insurance providers in the area. He knows all the ins and outs that can help you. His number is 205-542-3531. 205-542-3531, or look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City. Listen, I tell you all the time, he's A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau, and oftentimes you're like, God, all of a sudden I need a roofer. Who do I call? Well, sometimes you just call, you ask somebody and you use that person. Trust me here. Remember this name. Write it down. Storm Restoration Roofing. This guy will do you right, will not screw you over. He'll take care of you. Family-owned business for over 2 decades. 205-542-3531 and Greg from Pell City. Also, our friends at the Golfist. No wind inside, Brownie. No wind inside at the Golfist, but it is a fun time to go. Hang out with your friends. Just enjoy a good party. Get out and have some fun. Bring your own food. Bring your own drink. Bring your own clubs to Birmingham's premier indoor golf facility. It is the Golfist, and it is open right now on Highway 280, 520 Cahaba Park Circle near the Pink Package in Means, right there on 280. 4 bays there, easy parking, close to tons of food options. And again, you can bring your own food, right? So come play today at the Golfist. You can see more about what I'm talking about, thegolfist.com. thegolfist.com. 3 Birmingham locations, but open right now, Highway 280 Inverness. thegolfist.com for more information. All right, so tonight, 6 o'clock, Taylor and I will be over in Coleman Coliseum postgame coming up. After that, we get an opportunity to see 2 national championship contenders, I believe, in Florida and Alabama. I'd put them 2 of the 6 best, 2 of the 8 best teams in the country. And when it comes to offensive efficiency, they are 2 of the best teams. 4th at the Ken Palm offensive efficient rating for Florida, 3rd for Alabama. I don't know what the over-under is tonight at mybookie.ag. I got it. What do you think it is, Jim? You want to guess it?
It's a big number.
I would say 85. That's I'm going to say 174.5. You would take the under then. It's 178. Bama favored by 3.5, a total of 178.
Obviously, Alex Condon's back in the lineup.
Florida's 100% for the first time this year, I think.
Yeah. So you go back to last year in 2 matchups against Alabama, they won by an average of 16 points. And they averaged 103.5 points per game.
Yeah.
So, look, Alabama had no answer for the Florida offense, which I think this Florida team is better than last year's Florida team.
I do, too.
I think this is going to be an interesting game for Alabama tonight. I think Alabama loses the game.
I think they have a matchup. I mean, I'm not saying this is Bruce Pearl to Buzz Williams, but I think this is a matchup problem for Alabama because of their guards, their ability to score on the perimeter, and then inside they're more athletic inside than Alabama is.
Yeah, and look, in their ball rotation, I mean, Todd Golden has got the offense. I mean, he's cracked the code. And I would expect Todd Golden, as long as he wants to coach at the college level, that Florida is kind of a destination job. I think he's going to be there for a long time. Now, if the Alligator had their way back in September, October, Golden would probably be out, but man, he is one of the best young coaches out there.
Oh, so you don't think he would leave for a place like North Carolina or
maybe North Carolina? But I think it would take
Kansas if that came open.
There's just a few jobs that you could pry him away from. I mean, look, it's proven that you can win national championships in Florida.
Absolutely. So here's Nate Oates on what's on the line tonight, and I think people will be surprised to think that Alabama could still be a number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. But when you happen to be playing Florida and Auburn in your final 2 games, it is still a possibility, regardless of what anyone else does. If you just take care of your business, here's Nate Oates.
If we do what we're supposed to over the next week and a half, that 1 seed will take care of itself. If we don't, and we're a 2 seed, we're going to have the same mindset going to the tournament as if we were 1 seed. Whoever gets put in front of us, let's make a run. So, but I will say, one seeds are 1 seeds for a reason. They're playing good basketball. We need to be playing our best basketball come March. That's really the goal. So let's get let's get to the point where we are playing currently the best basketball we played all year, and I think we're close. Honestly, if we'd have closed that Tennessee game, that would have been one of our best games on both sides of the ball, and we were 30 seconds from closing it. And if those 30 seconds spur the coaching staff, the players on to being a much better situational basketball team into game, into half. We did mess up the end of half too. Deal. So if that game spurs us on to be the best team at those situations, and that spurs us on to win some games in the NCAA tournament, may have been the best thing to happen to us.
I would say this. I didn't get a chance to say it on Monday. Even in the loss, the heartbreaking loss on Saturday, I loved the way Alabama played in that game. Loved it.
No, I said that. I thought, Alabama played the better game for 39 minutes and 30 seconds. Unfortunately, as Nate Oates says, he kind of kicked the last 30 seconds around, and that got Alabama beat. And I always credit you for saying this. You're one of the first people I heard say it, is because we're such a football-hungry state, I think we overreact to singular basketball losses. And I think there's some overreaction to that Tennessee loss, because I think this Alabama team's playing really good basketball right now.
Got to get because of their defense. I thought they got in there and battled it the other day.
Yeah, their defense has improved.
Yeah,
I think it has.
On the other side, though, Chris Youngblood's got to get more consistent. You go from 27 points to 2 points. I do love Stevenson coming off the bench, 3-guard lineup now.
Oh, I love when it's Phylon Sears and Youngblood, or Holloway Sears and Youngblood. I love that. Love that, because it moves so much faster.
I do want to pull back a little bit when I said that Florida's going to win this game. I think it's going to be a tremendous game. I think it can go either way.
Why are you pulling back?
No, I'm not as dead set on this one.
It's been 4 minutes. Did you get a little update on the phone?
No.
Inside information?
Inside from the locker room?
Lance'sLock.com. I've just got new information.
No, but
what was the old commercial?
Straight from the locker room.
Straight from the locker room. I've got some exclusive information.
Of course, I'm giving you my pick on a Thursday night. The game's not until Saturday.
When he's in the locker room, but still.
When he brought up 1 seeds, Nate Oates, I thought he was going to say, there's not much difference between a 1 and a 2, because I will never doubt what Brown told me earlier this week.
It blows me away. I
can't scoff at this. Did you do it yesterday or Monday?
It was Monday when you weren't here, and you may have seen, I tweeted it as well, so you might have seen it. Since tournament expansion, the percent of 1 seeds, the percent of champions that were 1 seeds since tournament expansion. There have been 39 tournaments since the expansion, so it's pretty good.
And I get all 4, not number 1 overall. I get all 4 1
seeds. Yeah,
that's
just 1 seed.
It's just a 1 seed that has won the national championship. What percentage of the time do you think it is? Or you can give me the number. It's 39 total championships.
I would put that number between 45 and 50%.
It is 64%, 25 of 39.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
So the 2 seed.
I would have been. To me, half of the time would have been the ceiling for me on that.
2 seed is 12%, 5 times.
Oh, wow.
Out of 39.
Yeah,
and that
it's surprising.
That blew me away.
Combine those two, and what's my percentage?
Combine those two, and what did I say? 64 and 12. So you got 76. 3/4 of the time, it's going to be a 1 or 2 seed.
1 or 2 seed.
Mm-hmm. So that's one way you would look at it.
Dang.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
But here's what's weird. I don't guess this is weird.
See,
I think there's a bigger difference between. No, I think there's a bigger difference. Like the overall number 1 and the 4th number 1, I think are almost the same team. I think a lot of times there's a pretty big difference between the best 2 and the worst 2. Does that make sense?
No. Yeah, I agree.
So
with
I think that does impact that number a little bit.
Yeah, I would like to know this, and somebody in the chat room may have said this when you brought it up on Monday. I feel like the game has changed a little bit from the expansion. I would like to know the numbers the last 10 years.
Well, it's not going to help you on your 2 seed argument, because I think most of the 2 seeds won it before the last 10 years.
Yeah, I just want to know, like, the last 10 years. I feel like the tournament has been a little topsy-turvy, a little bit more than it used to be.
Yeah.
Because of the freedom and movement out there. So at some point, if somebody can do the last 10 years for me.
I'll just make this point. Going into yesterday, this was Joe Lunardi's 2 seeds. Florida, these were Joe Lunardi's 2 seeds. Florida, Alabama, Michigan State, Iowa State.
Yeah.
And I think Iowa State is a really good basketball team. I don't think they're in the same class as Alabama and Florida.
I think they were at one point this year, but
maybe
they're not
they're not right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure Michigan State is. They're going to end up winning the Big Ten. in all likelihood. And I know we respect Tom Izzo, but I don't know that they're in the same class as Alabama and
I would
Florida.
put Iowa State ahead of Michigan State.
Yeah, so you would definitely say they're not in the same class.
And
so,
I would say Alabama, Florida, Tennessee,
but
Auburn,
so
way
your,
ahead.
your one seeds, Tennessee, Houston, Duke, Auburn, I don't think there's a whole lot of difference between those teams.
Yeah.
I think we've seen that play out on the court. I mean, Auburn's played all of them, right?
Yeah, you can
and they
mark-
lost to Duke. They played a very close home game to Tennessee and a very close, quote-unquote, neutral site game against Houston.
You can mark it down. There will not be a Big Ten team in the Final Four.
Okay.
Only
Jim's on it.
Did you bring this up? Only 5 2s have ever won.
That is correct. I did. But I think the last one, was Villanova in 2016, if I remember correctly. I'd have to go back and confirm that.
Buzzer beater?
Yeah, I think that was the one. I think Villanova was a 2 seed.
13 of the past
TBS.
17.
Yeah, you're right.
13 of the past 17 champions have come from 1 seeds.
Yeah.
So that's your last 10-year number you're looking
So
for.
13 of the last, how many? 17?
17.
Have been 1 seeds?
Yeah.
I'm stunned it's that big of a difference because I used to think, is there really that big a difference between a 1 and a 2?
Yeah. I believe we may have more than 4 1 seed type teams this year. I think we got 6 of them.
I think that's true almost every year.
Yeah.
I think almost every year you can look at it and say, yeah, there's probably 6 1 seeds here, and they can only make 4 of them, or there's 5 1 seeds, they can only make 4 of them.
I'd be totally happy going to battle on a neutral site NCAA tournament setting with Florida, with Alabama.
Tennessee, if they happen to be a 2.
Guess Tennessee.
Well, why do you say you guessed Tennessee?
I put Tennessee below Florida and Alabama. I know the outcome in Knoxville, but just like
they
last
split
night,
with Florida and they beat Alabama, and that is hard to overlook. But I'm like you.
Yeah.
This is not a popular thing to say after Saturday. I think Alabama's the better team.
Yeah, I think there are 5 teams that I would be happy to go to battle with in the NCAA tournament on a neutral site. It's Auburn, it's Duke, it's Houston, it's Alabama, it's Florida. To me, those are the 5 best teams.
I don't necessarily disagree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to argue against.
And when those 5 teams lose, and 4 of them obviously will, maybe all 5, it'll be a big upset unless it's against each other. So looking forward to Selection Sunday, which, by the way, is a week from Sunday.
It is a week from this Sunday.
A week from Sunday. We'll have coverage next week from up in Nashville, including our Friday show. We'll be back at Losers right there off Broadway.
Yeah, and we're still trying to figure out the exact times. It could be 9 to 12. It could be 10 to 1. It could be 10 to 12.
Yeah.
We're
Just
working
come to
on that.
Losers.
It's going to be brought to you by our friends at Kickin' It Coolers. They've got new flavors out. We'll have product there for you guys to come by and sample. So looking forward to having a lot of fun up there.
Real easy. We will at least be either on the air at 9 o'clock or they're setting up at 9 o'clock.
That's true. We'll be there at 9 either way.
Yeah.
Either way, get there at 9, we'll be
So
there.
if you get there at 9, we'll be there at 9.
And we will let you out of school early if you need to go over to the arena. If we stay till 1,
What is that, 2 blocks to Bridgestone from Losers?
yeah,
I mean, it's a very short walk. It's a great place
it's
to
uphill,
pregame.
but yes, it is.
Yeah, great place to pregame.
I've dropped some weight, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I can walk uphill.
But you walk downhill to get there, so
You
it
do.
balances out.
It does work out good. So we'll be there a week from Friday up at Losers, leading into the SEC weekend. Tonight's Florida-Alabama game has importance on whether or not Alabama and Florida can hold on maybe to a double bye. So the big implications there to whether you don't play your first game until Friday. We'll get to more basketball later on. Jump to some college football when we come back on the show that's being brought to you by a couple of our great folks. One of them is our friend Alexander Shannara, who bring you the hotline there. Alexander Shannara Trial Attorneys. He's local, man. He's an Alabama guy.
doubt, my man.
As you pull this, Brown, I just wanted to tell Dunaway for reference, only 1-2 in the last 20 years has won a national championship.
Yeah.
And
was that Villanova?
It was Villanova in 2016.
That's what I
But that's
thought.
the only 2 in the last 20 years.
Crazy to
and,
think about.
and before that, it was 2004 UConn.
Yeah. Those are numbers to me. I'm sticking by the 5. I'm sticking by the 5 teams I said. One of them at least will be a 2. 2 of them may be 2s. Those 5 teams: Auburn, Duke, Houston, Alabama, Florida. I believe the national champion comes from those 5.
To Jim's point, while Alexander Shannara Trial Attorneys might be a national firm, they're based in Birmingham, and they employ 150 lawyers, more than 500 dedicated team members. So they're a great part of our community in Birmingham. They are elite trial lawyers, and they've recovered $2 billion. $2 billion. And the firm not only handles personal injury claims now, as you know, but also claims for fire and storm damage, bad drug and device claims, disability, workers' compensation, and a host of other claims. If you find yourself in need of an attorney, call the Alexander Shinora Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win for you.
What you're telling me is they're SEC strong, man.
That is correct, my man. Yes.
Yeah, I like that. They're Southeastern Conference footprint. When we come back, we talk SEC football right here on the next round.
Follow LT on Twitter at @TheLanceTaylor.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinora, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with a TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
Hey friends, if you're looking to expand your business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us at sales@nextroundlive.com to be part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential consumers on our ever-expanding platform. Let the Next Round help take your business to the next level. Get more information by emailing us at sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rowback. Go to rowback.com and click on the refreshed collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings, or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Do you need some refreshed college wear to represent your team this year? Shop Rowback's Game Day collection that includes both Alabama and Auburn. From quarter zips to hoodies, Rowback has it all. Get 20% off on us using code TNR20 at rowback.com.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinora, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
All right, 4 downs later in the show. We'll get to Tyler's viewing menu in a second. We're about to talk some college football. Before we get to that lawsuit that I want you to, if you're a season ticket holder in college football, that you may have...
Are me and Tyler going to agree with this?
I don't know.
I think so.
Some people have had their season tickets pulled, and I think it's an interesting case I want you to keep an eye on. But Alabama Power hard at work to get your power back on this morning after those storms yesterday. A lot of trees down. That means a lot of power lost overnight.
Yeah, and severe weather can pop up when you least expect it. Good news is you had some warning this time, but that's not always the case, and it's why Alabama Power is ready with tech and know-how to get your power back on fast. Tools to prevent outages, and a team on call 24/7. They're there to keep you safe and in the loop. You can stay ahead, too. Head to alabamapower.com/storm for storm safety tips, how to report an outage, and how to stay updated when storms are coming. That's alabamapower.com/storm. Stay safe with Alabama Power.
A Michigan guy who owns Maxim Tickets, based out of North Carolina, is suing the University of Michigan, his athletic department, for $2.5 million. He says that the changes in their season ticket policy will cost him up to $2.5 to $3.5 million in revenue per year, and he wants that money back. He buys hundreds of season tickets at Michigan and has for 21 years, including all the donations that go on top of that to be able to buy season tickets. And he's done it for 21 years, and they changed their policy without notice, he says, in 2024. And if you are buying tickets to resell, specifically to resell them, you can have your tickets canceled at the discretion of the athletic department at the University of Michigan. We're seeing some of that happen here in our state and in the Southeastern Conference and around the country. This is now a lawsuit initially filed at federal court, but it had no jurisdiction over a state institution. So now it's in Michigan State Court. I think this will be interesting to watch because this is, whether it's an individual who buys the tickets or a company that buys the tickets, there is some discussion here on whether you should be able to resell those tickets at your discretion.
Yeah, and I believe you should. Look, I see both sides of it. But if you're paying for the tickets, much like if I bought a car, if I went to a Chevrolet dealership and I bought a Tahoe, and then I turn around and sell it for $3,000 more to somebody that lives down the block, hey, look, that's just,
capitalism.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you're the one that's purchasing the tickets. They've got a price on the tickets. That's what their price is.
The difference in this is Chevy doesn't care who's driving the Tahoe, and the schools care who sits in those seats. That's the difference.
But I think more so on the secondary market, I think it's other. Let's just use Michigan as an example. I would think that he's selling these to other Michigan fans that are on that wait list that can't necessarily get the tickets. I would say the majority of the time that's the way it is. In some of these isolated one-game situations, you've got other fan bases coming in.
See, Brown, I want to see how it plays out.
Okay.
But do you not think schools are more – forget who's sitting in those seats. You think that's the issue? Or is it, okay, you're taking my product and you're buying it for X, and now you're reselling my product for XX?
I think
why can I not just take those tickets back and resell them for XX, and I make more money for my athletic department?
I think that the schools just don't want regular people making money on the tickets.
More money than they're making.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of with Tyler on that.
But that's my point.
It's just power and control.
I think if the schools had to do it over again, they would have started their own ticket exchange, and that's the only place you could do it. Why would you not do it that way, right? See what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
Like they would have just said, all right, Michigan, here's where you buy your season tickets. This is also where this was all pre-online, which made this more difficult.
Yeah, but I don't know why you can't make this adjustment on the fly.
Well, you can, but it's going to put people like Dunaway's guy over there out of business. Like, you would say this is the only legal place to exchange tickets. Like every other, we will not allow a ticket transfer unless it is transferred through the Michigan Ticket Exchange. And then they own the exchange, and, now the secondary ticket guy, like the guy at Michigan, is out of business. And that sucks. I mean, I hate that for him, but that's what the schools are regretting right now.
You know what's amazing is universities are doing so much for game day experience to get people into the stadium because they're having a problem with attendance, and now you're telling people they can't sell their tickets. So it's like you're pushing back on people that want to buy tickets.
Yeah. Now if I do have my season tickets, now this is just people that do it all the time, buying at the purpose to resell. If you
if you go to
let's use our friends at ATEX. I mean, they
Right.
buy tickets as a it's their business.
Yeah, but if I go to 5 of the 7 Alabama home games and resell the other 2, I'm not on the watch list, right? Greg Byrne is not worried Right. about Jim Dunaway because I went to 5. That's right. And I paid all my donations. I think the concern at Michigan and other places is people who are buying blocks of hundreds and hundreds of tickets with the intention of selling them and then being resold again. They sell them and they're sold again and they're sold again. and I'm
guessing the schools didn't realize this was as prevalent as it was. They knew it was going on, but they didn't know it was this. I know you're grimacing your face. There's no way they knew it was as prevalent as it was until the electronic ticket.
Yeah. Oh, I can
They
see
knew it was going on, but
Yeah.
until the electronic ticket, when the school sees all the transfers, and they're like, well, holy crap, Jim Dunaway's transferring every single ticket he's got.
Yeah. And it got transferred to one person who
that's
sold
right.
it to somebody else.
And it's not getting transferred to the same, the same end user. It's getting transferred to the same person, and 7 different end users use that ticket.
I just, in my belief, and I can't wait to see how it all plays out, not in the courts, but with the schools, I mean, you're having to squeeze every penny at every turn to make this model work. I just believe there's, right or wrong, I just think there's an opportunity there for a place like Alabama to control those tickets and make the money that the people who are selling them on secondary market are making them. I'm not saying Alabama should start their own ticket brokering place.
I've actually got an idea here that I just got on the fly. Tell me if this doesn't work.
Well, is it dynamic pricing? Because I
not necessarily.
That's what I was thinking about. We already know that. Okay, if Alabama's got the Auburn game at home and the Tennessee game at home, I guess that's not the same year. Auburn and LSU at home, whatever it works out, that those tickets cost more than Mercer and Arkansas.
We've always had that.
We've always had that.
Yeah.
Well, why not this? Instead of having a set ticket price, why not any of your tickets that are not season ticket ball? Why not all your tickets at that point just be not dynamic pricing? And you don't say that this ticket's $125 for the Auburn game. The ticket is whatever the market says that ticket is.
Because then when the coach sucks, I don't get the ticket money, and I got to pay the coach to go home. So I really take a loss in the season.
So you would not gamble that I can't get $125 for the Auburn ticket.
No. Here's my idea. And I don't know the numbers here, and I know what the objection is going to be is, my gosh, I'm already paying Tide Pride or On to Victory or whatever all the Auburn
it does make
whatever.
these programs look really greedy.
But here's that's capitalism too. Like, we talk about the capitalism on one side.
Yeah, but you're naming your price. This is what your price is for that ticket package. If somebody buys it, how do you have a problem with them flipping it?
I get it, but Michigan's just exercising capitalism too. They're trying to maximize what they get out of it.
Why is it the resellers that are greedy?
Huh?
Why is it the resellers that are greedy?
I don't think they're saying they're greedy. I just think they're saying we want to control it more.
Yeah. Well,
that's disgusting, in my opinion.
No,
disgusting.
No,
I buy something, I can do whatever I want with it because I bought it.
And that is true, but we're taking those back. You can't. You're not going to have them anymore, so you're out of the conversation. Yeah. I'm saying that whatever school it is, we'll use Michigan as an example. I've got to come up with some money now. I mean, the athletic department's starting in July 1 is about to need every dime they can get. I need to get into this business of, creating content behind a paywall. People got to pay for that content that they're going to watch. So to hell with Hard Knocks. I'm going to do my own behind-the-scenes show, and you're going to pay $9.99 a month to see it. I'm going to do that. And then in these resale of tickets, I need to be controlling their ticket resales so I can make more money.
That's right. But here's how you do this. Now, I know what the objection is going to be before people start with the objection in the chat room. I understand you're going to say, I'm already paying enough as it is. But what if, with your season ticket package, and I'm just going to use random numbers here. I don't know what number you would have to set it. But for $100 extra on your season ticket package, you can have up to 2 transfers. For $500, you can have up to 5 transfers. And for $750, you can have unlimited transfers. Now, that is going to raise the price of the secondary market because it's going to get passed down to the end user at some point.
Is that per ticket per game? Or
I don't know. I'm just using an example.
I understand that.
I'm just saying there's a price where I pay and I get 2 transfers for all my tickets. Every ticket I got, or every ticket I pay that for, I can transfer it twice.
So you, as a season ticket holder, could sell it to me, who owns Gym Ticks.
Well, how about you don't do
but
it?
only if I pay that. Only if I pay that. If not, I'm at risk of losing my ticket.
Then I can sell it for one other time to somebody else.
Or you
could
say the first 2 are free, and then I got to pay to get 4 transfers. I got 6 transfers or unlimited.
But how
transfers.
about this? You can transfer at any time without paying the fee up front. So, like, you buy your season tickets, you're planning on using them, something comes up in October, you can't go to the Ole Miss LSU game.
Right.
So you decide to sell them, but then you pay that one-time fee to the university.
Yeah, you could do it that way. Pay it on the backside.
I think that would.
I'm just saying,
there's something possibly to that.
Yeah, I'm just saying there has to be. That's a way that Alabama or Michigan or Auburn or whoever could guarantee that they're getting the money, and then they don't have to dive into the transfer market and try to operate.
But again,
that.
it does look greedy because I mean, if you're taking that money, then you don't care who you sell them to. If you're selling them to Ole Miss or LSU, because if it's really about keeping people out of those seats,
that's right.
Which is really, but it's not.
No, it's about money.
I think when you say the word greedy, though, that makes it seem like I've got a bunch of money and I want more money. And I think we're at the point now where we've learned that these athletic departments don't have a bunch of money, that they're having to spend all their money.
Well, because they're not operating the athletic department the way it should be operated as a business.
Well,
because you have too many hurdles like Title IX.
That's right. Yeah, it's not a real business.
It's not a real business at all. It's not even close.
It's
a business
spend money so it makes it look like they don't make money.
Well, sometimes they do that.
What business would you sit there and let something just bleed you out without cutting that fat?
But they have to do it by law.
They have to, yeah.
But you wouldn't do that for your student experience? I mean, the bottom line, the most money is still made, right, by
student fees,
by tuitions.
No. But all these athletic departments get student fees. Like part of your tuition at Alabama or Auburn, at least it used to. I'm not going to say 100% it does, but I'm pretty sure they haven't given this money back. Is the student experience, and it goes to different things, but a lot of it goes to athletics because they understand the importance of Bryant-Denny Stadium and Jordan-Hare to recruiting students, right? Yeah. Without Jordan-Hare and Bryant-Denny, would as many people want to go to Alabama and Auburn? Not at all.
I would tell you, if there was no such thing as Alabama football, Alabama's
it'd be Montevallo.
Enrollment would be
maybe 10,000, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
And without Jordan-Hare Stadium, Auburn's enrollment would be. I mean, it would be an out-of-the-way school in the middle of nowhere nobody would want to go to.
And we could count stoplights in Tuscaloosa.
That's right. Absolutely, you could. So the school understands the importance of football, and therefore, there is some tuition money that goes to that. It's just part of to your point, part of the student experience. Alabama is in competition with Tennessee for students, and with Auburn for students, and Auburn's in competition with Alabama and Georgia for students. So you got to make it as appealing as possible to come to those places.
Yeah, and I would think 90% of your athletic directors would be like, just give me football and basketball,
and we're done.
And if we cut everything else, I'd be cool
So to your
with
point with the student experience, if women's rowing or men's tennis got cut, it's not going to be a big deal to the student. It's going to be a big deal to those players, sure.
Yeah.
And the coaches and the support staff, yeah.
It also, likelihood is going to be, you probably, let's say there's 20 players, rowers on the rowing team, you're probably going to lose 15 full scholarships. I mean, full tuitions.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to lose those students.
Yeah, you can replace those easily.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah. Oh, you think so?
Oh, yeah.
Just there's people just knocking down the door to come.
Oh,
you know how difficult it is to get these schools right now?
Do you know how many people get turned down to Alabama and Auburn?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, more at Auburn these days than at Alabama, but yeah.
Well, still,
absolutely.
I mean, you're talking 15. You could find 15 students on a street corner to go to Alabama and Auburn if you got rid of men's rowing.
Yeah.
I think it's, I don't think the men has the rowing team. I think it's the women's rowing.
Okay.
Anyway,
you're getting way too deep in these analogies, Jim.
It's not a realistic business.
The show is brought to you today by our friends at Hemp Hill. They bring you the lock of the day. Tell us about Hemp Hill and LancesLock.com. With the winner last night, Texas A&M over Auburn.
Yeah, I had a nice little winning night last night. Jump on board. More winners up today. 3 in college basketball. Free winner up and available right now. Go to LancesLock.com. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services. Trust that name. Birmingham's trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Any of these arise in your home or business, they're ready to serve you. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. Hard to stop a train. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
And our friends at New Life Art, they bring you all the great works from over the years and the most current ones from Daniel A. Moore. DanielMooreArt.com, DanielMooreArt.com. Right now, they're celebrating all the Crimson Tide players that just won the Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. That includes Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith and Landon Dickerson. You see the works they've been part of over the years in the crimson and white uniforms. You can be part of the celebration with the Roll Eagles Roll collection right there. Check them all out at DanielMooreArt.com. Promo code TNR, that helps you get discounts, including the legend, the celebration of Coach Nick Saban's 6 national championships. It's all right there at DanielMooreArt.com. All right. No hard knocks. Bill Belichick and the folks at North Carolina, after we celebrated it yesterday, the agreement has fallen through.
Tease job, by the way.
Yeah, we were all excited about this, but now details, it gets lost in the translation and the transaction there. Not going to happen. So the Hard Knocks crew will not be doing it. Brown, you tell me there may be another production company.
Yeah, I saw Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, saying that there was another production company that is in discussions to making this happen. Don't know how deep those discussions are or if they can get over the finish line, but the first ones fell through.
Where's our man Bo Mattingly when we need him?
Yeah, big difference if it's on HBO or if it's just streaming on somewhere else.
It is.
Like I haven't watched the.
I think so.
I haven't watched the Fox Nation one with the Tide right now. Have you watched any of that?
No, I think that's behind a paywall, isn't it?
It is.
Fox Nation
It is.
subscription.
I don't know.
It is.
I'm not going to pay for that.
Yeah.
But like Showtime did in season with Notre Dame or whatever, and I didn't see it.
I
I
didn't
don't
watch
know.
that. Didn't watch that. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to take something like a one-off, very intriguing first season of Bill Belichick where this thing could be, I don't know, they could win 9 games if everything breaks right. It could be a complete disaster.
I just want to see Bill Belichick, after following up Mac Brown, who I always felt like was the grandfather to his players, and Bill Belichick's going to come in and start chewing these guys like he did in the NFL. I just want to see the reaction.
The other angles, he gets home from a long day, and you've got his girlfriend's like massaging his feet, pulling his socks off, and everybody's like, that's the thing that stands out. Like she's earning her money.
She's got all her new young friends from Chapel Hill over at the house having wine, and Bill stumbles in pissed about a bad practice.
Our viewing menu today brought to you by Michelson Laser Vision. Tell us about Michelson LT and Tyler will tell us what he's watching tonight.
205-969-8100, the number that I called more than 2 decades ago. If you wear the glasses or the contacts, you're wasting money each and every year. I'm speaking from experience. Make the phone call that I made. Ask for Amy, 205-969-8100. She's going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
All right, today at AMC Theaters, there's a special re-release. So if you have a Dolby Theater near you, make sure to check and see if Purple Rain is in your area today.
Did they give you do you have a shuttle that takes you back and forth to AMC?
No, but I should. It would save me on gas.
Is this the date it was released? Is that why it's out today? I don't know that to be true, but I did see this. One of our viewers, did I say this on the air already?
I don't think so.
I either told friends or I said it on the air, but I think it was Casey, one of our viewers, that the release of Purple Rain, it was closer to World War II than it is today.
Yeah, you did say that, I think, last week. You know, the thing about Purple Rain, and I said this early as a kid, it's the magic of movies. For a minute, you thought Prince was, riding around on a motorcycle. This might be a tough guy. And then you find out Prince is like 5'1", 5'2".
Yeah, it's 5'2". Couldn't beat you up at all.
Yeah, but I thought it was an okay movie. I don't think it was stand up.
No, it's cheesy, but the soundtrack was incredible.
Yeah.
It worked back in the 80s for what it was.
And that's why I'd recommend going to the theaters to see it if you've got the Dolby Theater re-release, because you get the best audio you can have in a theater, and that'd be a great soundtrack to hear.
When doves cry, incredible.
Yeah. And also at home, you got a little bit of a marathon if you're a big Nicolas Cage fan. 5:45 on AMC, you got Gone in 60 Seconds, and then immediately after at 8:30, you've got Con Air.
Oh, wow.
And then at 7 o'clock on Paramount Network, one of the best movies of all time, The Departed.
That is really a fantastic movie. Yep. Have you seen that one, Jimmy?
I have seen The Departed,
Yeah,
yes.
that's a good one.
Yeah, good Western. Kidding. That's what Tyler is watching there, brought to you by our friends at Michelson.
205-969-8100 for more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
All right, when we come back, Ryan Grubb speaking next hour after Alabama's practice. Already on our platform at Next Round Live. At Next Round Live, Taylor and Emily Grace have sent out video from practice this morning that includes Keelan Russell and the quarterback battle ongoing. In fact, here's some of it that Forrester has pulled up for us from our cameras inside the Alabama camp as day 2 of spring practice is ongoing. We get to hear from Ryan Grubb around 10:45, 11 o'clock a little bit later on today and get a chance to talk about the Alabama's offense moving forward with a veteran offensive play caller. When I come back, I'll ask Lance and Ryan how they think that will make the offense look different. That's on the other side. This is the next round.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at Ryan Brown Live.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Things fall apart. There's even a book about it, but that doesn't mean you have to break the bank to fix them. Ryan Brown here for the next round. Our friends at Mortgage Right have a new renovation option that will make repairs and other home improvements easy. If you've recently purchased a home and find yourself short on cash, or you're looking to buy a fixer-upper, Mortgage Right's renovation loan program can help you spruce up your space. Repairs can be made to your roof, plumbing, flooring, and more with the help of top-notch mortgage professionals. So get your fix by visiting mortgageright.com/TNR. And MLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
If you're looking to expand business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us. Send an email to sales@nextroundlive.com to be a part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platform. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, and reach the most desirable audience for your business. Get information and more by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
No matter the occasion, the Next Round store has you covered with whatever you need. Head over to nextround.store and start filling your cart up now. When you wear your gear, make sure to let us know by posting on socials, and you might just end up seeing yourself during a commercial break. Go browse now at nextround.store and place your order before the break ends.
When the clock hits 0, go to all Next Round video platforms for instant reactions for the latest Auburn and Alabama basketball games. Follow, like, subscribe, and set those alerts. The madness starts now, so be a part of it at Next Round Live on all social platforms.
Hang out with the Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out the Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
While we're talking about lawsuits and government stuff, Senator Bill DeMora, who's a state senator in Ohio, has introduced a bill
Now, this will make some people happy, but it really doesn't make sense. It's sort of funny. He's made it a bill that Ohio State football wants to make it a law that Ohio State football cannot be streaming only. An Ohio State football game cannot be streaming only. He literally said that the Ohio State-Purdue game on Peacock in 2023, he couldn't watch it. And he was upset about that. He's not going to pay all these different streaming services to watch sports, and he wants it to be a law that Ohio State football has to be on a normal station, I think he said.
So a normal station. How old is this guy?
Yeah, I'm just saying that
80?
Everything is streaming.
It's not on my station anymore.
Yeah. So I mean, even ESPN is streaming.
100% it is. Yeah. Everything I watch is streaming.
Yeah.
Back to the.
I guess he doesn't like the money NBC pays the Big Ten that Ohio State benefits from because that's why that game was on Peacock.
Hey, Kentucky, Auburn, when the 4K went out, I couldn't find it.
Where did it go?
The Kentucky Auburn basketball game?
Yeah.
Oh, it went nowhere.
Yeah, you couldn't even stream it on ESPN app?
No, they lost the truck. There's no video of it.
Okay, I see. I thought it was a 4K thing because I was looking all over.
No.
And I got pre-hockey coverage, and I was all over the place.
The truck got on fire.
The truck burned? I didn't know that part of it.
Yeah, caught on fire.
Okay, well, that's an issue.
Yeah, so what happened?
Nobody was hurt. The truck caught on fire.
So the video of it doesn't.
But how does a truck catch on fire? Like, there's got to be something for a truck to catch on fire.
I don't know, if a fuse blew or a wire got crossed or what, but it burned up. And
so the video may not even exist.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
So the end of that game, there's no video of it.
The last, I think, what was it, 13 minutes?
Yeah.
It was so bad that Andy Burcham, the Facebook feed of the Auburn broadcast where you can just see the announcers, he turned the camera around.
Okay.
And you got part of the court Auburn wide view, and that's about the only video you have out. I mean, local stations where they're shooting it for, WLEX and Lexington and other stations, but there's no TV broadcast because we got a question on the basketball show afterwards. Will, like ESPN or the SEC Network ever replay this? And the answer is no, it doesn't exist. There was no more of the broadcast.
That's crazy. Look,
I've never seen that happen.
They're up 15 at the break. They win by 16, so it wasn't a great game. Can you imagine if it played out like Alabama-Tennessee did on Saturday?
No, but as an Auburn fan, you wanted to see it.
Oh,
because,
sure. That's a win at Rock. They literally had not had one since 1988.
Yeah. And it clinched the SEC championship, so there was some joy and celebration. So disappointing, but those things happen. Sadly, in this world that I live in, knowing enough about what was going on, the first thing I did was check Twitter to make sure it wasn't a terrorist attack,
right?
That something bad had happened inside the arena. And then secondly, I instantly knew, because it was national commercials playing, that it wasn't at ABC 3340 here in Birmingham. I knew it wasn't my local ABC affiliate.
Yeah.
Like if all of a sudden a Shannara spot had popped up or something like that, I'd been like, oh, it's a problem with our buddy Jeff Spiegel in ABC 3340. I feel bad for Spiegs. Everybody's blowing his phone up. And I'm sure everybody was calling ABC 3340 too. But when you see national spots running, then at that, and by the way, nobody was in the studio at ESPN because it was a lot of commercial breaks before we got.
We're back.
Before they got.
But it was interesting that we had talked about for a week or two that it was going to be on ABC.
Yeah, it was, but it was simulcasting on ABC and ESPN.
Yeah,
and both signals are gone.
That's wild.
See, I thought it was a 4K thing.
You know what's weird is it's funny that came up because we were watching every Saturday morning. We have the same routine in the Brown House. I get up and I turn on Aerial America. I've seen every state, all 50 states, multiple times probably.
Yeah, so good.
But it is just great Saturday morning. I love the narrator's voice, and it's
and you learn something.
And they were showing California, and they showed Candlestick Park, and they referenced the earthquake. And my wife was completely unfamiliar with that story, the earthquake in the World Series, and she was like. I was like, no, the game was coming on, and there's an earthquake, and I pulled it up on YouTube. I'd forgotten how scary that was.
Oh, yeah.
Like Al Michaels or Tim McCarver's in the middle of his sentence, and you can hear the crowd reacting in the background to the earthquake, and then McCarver just completely freezes, and all you hear, it's almost like a really bad movie, like End of Times movie. All you hear is Al Michaels say, "We're having an earthquake," and then it just goes dead.
You lose the feed.
And you're like, What just happened there?
And then you're out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Show today being brought to you. We're getting to the Alabama football discussion today by our friends at Woodhouse Day Spa. Tell us about Woodhouse.
Hey, great place to stop in, pick up the perfect gift for that significant other. If you're going to be watching hoops, March Madness, of course, send the girlfriend or wife to the Woodhouse Day Spa, conveniently located at the Summit Shopping Centers. It is the best day spa out there. You can order gift cards online 24/7, birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Let her choose from a menu of over 70 options, including massages, body treatment, skincare, waxing, nail services. Woodhouse Day Spa, voted America's best day spa since 2009. Again, order that special person gift 24/7 online, birmingham.woodhousespas.com.
Okay, we showed you video earlier of Alabama out practicing. Kalen DeBoer here on, just think about the people he lost, the leaders he lost, and it's a new group. You go through this every year in college, and he's challenging a new group of guys to step forward this spring.
Well, I think it's a bigger group because we do have a lot of guys that are returning. So there's probably 10 guys that decided to come back, and I think all of those guys, along with any of the returners that were significant contributors. I could go on down the list. I just feel like maybe we don't have someone who's just over the top strong and one guy who commands all of it, but I think all of them working together, just kind of picking each other up on top of themselves. I think it's in a good spot, and I expect it to be a lot better, but I think it's at a good starting spot at this point of the year. Anything starts over with a team. It doesn't matter if it's the leadership, the installs, the drill work. It all starts over every single season.
Over the top one person that was sort of the alpha in the leadership department, I assume that would be your quarterback, Jalen Milroe?
You would like for it to be.
Yeah, you would like for it to be.
Yeah, I think if you're in a situation where your quarterback is not at least one of your offensive leaders, you've got a potential issue there. I'm not going to say it's always an issue.
But he made it sound like there was just one guy that was leading last year. They're leading by a bigger group this year, which I think is better for continuity, right? If you're just reading between the lines.
I also think, this staff getting comfortable in year two. Year one, it was an eggshell situation. Say what you want, but when you're going from the greatest to ever do it, you're coming in kind of on the fly. You're trying to keep guys. You're bringing guys in. There's something about that second year in this transition. And look, as bad for Alabama fans as 9-4 was, I still think they were talent-wise one of the top 10 teams in college football. And it could have broke the other way, and they could have ultimately got that final bid into the college football playoff. But what do you guys think it's going to take in year two for Alabama fans to erase the negativity of the 4 losses and to believe, hey, this thing is on track, we've got the right guy?
I think you need to make the playoffs.
I think
really
you
do.
make an advance. I used to just say make the playoffs until I watched the playoffs.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think it's making advance.
When I said make the playoffs, I had never watched the playoffs, and it just felt really empty for Tennessee this year. Really empty. Now, they got shelled, so maybe if it comes down to a final play, it feels different.
It seems like they weren't even there.
Yeah, it seems like Tennessee didn't even participate. It felt like SMU didn't even participate. Who else lost early? Boise. Well, no, they got a bye.
For all those teams,
saying,
though, those are still exciting years because
Clemson.
I do think Tennessee's like, damn, we've got the right guy in Heupel, and you look at SMU, and you look at some of those other teams. They were great years, but for Alabama, the expectation is championship every year and 4 losses.
So I think it was. I think now to show progression, you're asking me what takes the heat off of him compared to having a 4-loss season and not making the playoffs. Making the playoffs next year is a step forward.
That's a step forward. I still don't think Alabama fans would be content with that. I think they would see it.
There's no content after Alabama fan. They're
if
never
he wins
content.
the national championship every year.
I'm
saying I think there would be for Alabama fans to say we've got the right guy if they were a solid top 8 team all year and they did advance.
But see, here's the thing. If they just advance to the college football playoffs, that's probably 2 losses. What 2 losses are Alabama fans going to look back on and say, I'll forget last year and those 2 losses because we made the playoffs this year?
Yeah, if Alabama was to lose to, let's just say, Georgia and Auburn both on the road, they go 10-2, they get in, and then they lose in the first round?
Nope. Yeah. That's a disappointing year.
So what's different with Ryan Grubb? Let's get away from hypotheticals and talk about what we will get on the field this year. What do you think Ryan Grubb will offer? I'll tell you what I think first. You tell me if I'm off. Nick Sheridan, first-year play caller, right?
Right.
Ryan Grubb's done this a long time. Nick Sheridan either some people would say had the advantage of an experienced quarterback who could do a lot of things back. Ryan Grubb will have a first-year starter, but probably will choose a guy that fits their system more. Nick Sheridan didn't have that advantage. I'm saying this to say that I don't think what Nick Sheridan did last year was all bad. I think that his hands were tied a little bit on what he could do because of the quarterback he had to have last year.
You guys have multiple kids. The first one, and maybe you guys were different, more helicopter on the first kid.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah,
Second kid's on their own.
The first kid, your eyes are always on him. The second kid, your back's turned towards him a lot. I think that was Nick Sheridan last year. And I think Kalen DeBoer, I think, he respects Nick Sheridan. He felt that he was good enough to be in that role. But I still think it was eyes on Nick Sheridan. Let's make sure that we're working together and figuring this out. With Ryan Grubb coming back can be turned to Ryan Grubb. He can give him autonomy of this offense. And Grubb's also a vocal guy. You heard the bad cop, good cop. That was one analogy. But, talking to people around Tuscaloosa, they're saying his presence is already felt.
That's why I can't wait to hear him talk a little bit later on this hour.
I heard he's really impressive, too.
Yeah, I want to see how he handles the interview and see what he talks about. But, Brown, you see what I'm saying? Nick Sheridan had no choice at quarterback.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No, it was Milroe or nothing.
It was predetermined who the quarterback was going to be, and you really couldn't bench him as the season went on.
Clearly.
He was the best. He was the best you had to offer.
Anytime you got close to benching him, he'd have an LSU game, and you're like, well, dang, look what the guy could do.
But see, now Ryan Grubb and everyone else on that staff, including Nick Sheridan, they're able to choose of their three quarterbacks the best one that fits their system. Yeah. And I think that is an advantage Ryan Grubb has this year with his experience that Nick Sheridan didn't have last year.
Well, and I think that's why Austin Mack is back in the conversation. I've also heard that, it's not going to be surprising if any of the three start. Everybody just assumes it's going to be Ty because he's been in the program so long, and there is something to that. But we're seeing true freshmen make impacts now, so Russell's right there in the mix. And there's a reason Austin Mack came with this staff, and there's a reason the staff wanted Austin Mack to come.
Yeah, I do think they have a level of comfort with him. I don't know if that level of comfort outweighs, is Keelan Russell just better than him? Is Ty Simpson just better than him? I don't know until, the coaches will know that, obviously, when they see him. I think, with the difference you were asking, the difference between man, Austin Mack is so tall. When I was looking at that video Scott was just showing, that guy is just tall.
He's massive.
He is a tall drink
And
of
what
water.
is he's got Tim Melton feet. I think he's got a 17.
Does he really?
Yeah, I think it's 16 or 17.
Yeah, I mean, he just when they show the quarterback video, he just stands out how tall he is, Austin Mack. I think almost any offensive coordinator with the level of talent you have in an Alabama gym, 5% of the time, you can call a fine game. Almost anything you call is going to work to a certain extent. It is always going to be a home run play, no, but it's probably going to gain yardage. I think you pay an offensive coordinator for that 5% of the time where you're on the goal line in the red zone and it becomes more difficult to call plays. You've got a 3rd and 5. You need to extend a drive to either keep a game alive or ice a game out. You're behind down a score on the road and you need a drive. That's why you pay an offensive coordinator, $1 million, $2 million for that 5% of the time. And I just got to think with his experience, Ryan Grubb is better in those situations than an inexperienced Nick Sheridan was.
We'll have on our platform later on today Ryan Grubb talking about Alabama's early spring, his observation of what the offense will offer. More on college basketball setting the table tonight in Mark Sears and the other seniors, senior night at Coleman Coliseum, 6 o'clock against Florida. We'll get back to that later on. And Dalen Cuff will join us later on at 11:05. Can't wait to talk to him, the ESPN basketball analyst. But the show today being brought to you by a couple of great folks. One of them is our friends at Way to Wellness. Your journey to healthy living. Leslie and her board-certified team will help you. Way to Wellness is a planforme.com. That's the website, a planforme.com. Just like the website says, a planforme.com. They got a specific plan designed differently for you. No cookie-cutter plan. Everything is different. No contracts, no sign-up fees, and the first consultation is free. They offer a variety of different methods to jumpstart your weight loss. Whatever you want to choose, it's your choice after you get there and talk to Leslie and the team. in that free evaluation, you can say, hey, that injection therapy sounds right. I hear a lot of people rave about that. They've got all the injection therapy for you there. They got meal replacements. They got protein bars. They have other ways to help you shape up, carve out a little weight loss. Find out everything they offer and get a plan right there at aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. Way to wellness, your journey to healthy living. And also, by our friends at A+. They bring you today our 4 downs. Brandy, tell us about A+.
Yeah, it's A+ Bath and Kitchen. A+bathandkitchen.com is the website to go to. Scott will show you some before and afters of the master bath in the Brown house. When it came time to do that, my wife scoured the internet looking for the right person for the job. She talked to a lot of contractors, read reviews, people that had used certain contractors. She picked Brad Bell and A+. I'm glad she did. He did tremendous work. You can see more before and afters. And a lot more about A+ at aplusbathandkitchen.com. That is aplusbathandkitchen.com. Also, here's Brad Sell. So many of you have called him, and he's done a lot of work for our audience, and you've all given me great feedback. He specializes in master bath kitchen and master bedroom closets. That's really important, but it's not all he does. You can call him and get him to bid your job. 205-422-1758. That is 205-422-1758. A+ Bath and Kitchen, aplusbathandkitchen.com.
First down.
Current job longer, Bill Belichick or Mike Norvell?
I mean, Belichick's age is going to limit him. Norvell's performance is going to limit him if he doesn't turn it around. I mean, he's hot seat this year, right, Norvell?
Not with his buyout.
Well, but have you seen if there is an adjusted buyout? Do we know that yet? That's what I'd like to know.
I do not know the
He
details
adjusted
on
his
that.
contract last year, and I would like to know if the buyout got adjusted.
Yeah, I think, in my belief, I shouldn't say I think. I don't like that phrase. In my belief.
Why do you not like it?
I don't know. I just never have liked that. In
Okay.
my belief, I think Florida State they're not going to be 13-0. But they're going to be closer to the playoffs than they are away from the playoffs this year.
Are you talking yourself into this because of the opener, or you really believe that?
No, I really believe that. If you do a little research on who they have added from the portal, who they brought in, again, they're not 13-0 Florida State, but they're not 2-win Florida State either. This is a talented group they got down there. This will be easily a bowl team. I put them.
I would hope.
I put them as an 8-win, 9-win type team when it's all said and done this year.
You talk about a fan base that based on the fact that they got snubbed a couple of years ago because of the Jordan Travis injury, and then in year one, SMU comes in and not only dominates really in the regular season in the ACC, but gets to a college football playoff. Like if I'm a Florida State fan, it's college football playoff or bust.
So we got Alabama's got to make the playoffs and win.
Correct.
Florida State's got to make the playoffs.
Correct.
Okay. Who else? What if Dabo doesn't make the playoff? What if Hugh doesn't make the playoffs?
Upset. His fans will be upset.
Okay.
You always like to say fans need to be realistic. When are you going to learn they're not?
No, I don't say that. He tells me that Arkansas fans should be 7 wins. They should be happy with 7 wins.
Yeah.
Well, but we're telling you what Alabama fans and Florida State fans
that's
are
right.
happy
Florida
with.
State fans can't be happy this year with
how,
8 wins.
I don't think they will be.
But how could you? Like if SMU in
I
year
won 2
one
last year.
But
but that should not be your measure.
Yeah, it shouldn't be. SMU wasn't even in the ACC the year before.
Yeah, I know, but okay, so everybody in the ACC should win this year.
No. Florida State, they have built a program of, at times excellence. They were coming off a year where they were undefeated in the regular season. You dropped to 2 wins. How can you not bounce back up to double-digit wins?
I'm not going to base anything off the fact we were 2 wins last year if I'm a Florida State fan, because that was entirely unacceptable.
I would just say it's not as easy as people behind microphones make it sound to win games against other teams who are also trying to win games, and to take a 2-loss team to make the playoffs or not. It is harder to do in real life than it is over the history of what a program or a uniform has done in the past. That's the only reason I argue with you guys about this all the time.
If you get the right person in, it's not, though.
The greatest to ever do it won 6 games his first year at Alabama.
Right, but then he never had to worry about it again.
Well,
again, you get that 1-year pass, but what is baffling is Mike Norvell, as deep as he is in this tenure, getting that extension and then having one of the worst Power 4 teams out there last year. That's unexplainable.
And the guy's getting paid a ton of money.
Ton of money.
one reason I don't like sports movies, and I generally don't like sports movies, is because they have to work around copyrights, so the team names never sound real. Like when you watch a sports movie, the team names just never.
Any Given Sunday.
What is the team name in that?
I think they were the Sharks. Weren't
yeah,
they?
the Sharks.
Where are you going with this?
You don't like the South Central Louisiana State Mud Dogs?
Who is that?
That's Waterboy.
Waterboy? No, I do not. Didn't like that movie either.
Yeah, I
Didn't like orange and black in the uniform.
Yeah. The week after Alabama, Florida State plays East Texas A&M. That sounds like one of those, like,
oh, yeah.
It's Kathy Ireland's kicking for him.
Scott Baio's rolling out.
Scott Baio's playing quarterback.
Not Scott Baio, Scott Bakula.
Oh, yeah, Scott Bakula, that was it. I said Scott Baio, too. East Texas A&M. I don't even know who that is. They're the Lions, though.
Second down.
Week celebrity birthdays, but Justin Fields, 27 today. If I ask you which former Buckeye quarterback possibly wins a playoff game first, would you go Justin Fields or Will Howard about to come into the league? I know the answer is probably neither.
Well, I've at least seen Fields in the league. My only NFL version of Will Howard was what he did at the Combine the other day, and that was no bueno. So I'm going to go Justin Fields.
So to win a playoff game?
Yeah. I think Fields has still got some upside.
Well, I mean, just think about it. He technically could still end up being the quarterback of the Steelers this year.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. But, at 27, same age as Sam Darnold. What I would say is Sam Darnold was able to break out now in the right system.
Yeah, I would take Justin Fields for sure because he could be the starting quarterback of the Steelers this year, which gives him a chance to be in the playoffs.
Well, and we know
a chance
that
to win a game.
He has been a starting quarterback in this league, and I don't know if Will Howard's ever going to be that.
Third down.
Joel Osteen, 63 years old. Better career, ultimately, Joel Osteen or Joel Embiid?
I'll say his Embiid. What championships has he won? Now Osteen doesn't play for
Osteen
championships.
doesn't even have to work for money.
No, he does
just
not.
send it to him.
But at least he shows up to do a sermon, right?
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, Embiid
I think he's
is
probably there most every Sunday. Embiid.
And I would think as much as Embiid is making and basically just wasting the Sixers' money, Osteen's got more.
Would it? Yeah, I was going to say
More money?
Oh yeah,
Easily.
You don't think so?
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, easy.
We'll
Yeah.
probably never know what the numbers really are.
But I don't think, to be entirely fair to Osteen, I don't think he accepts a salary from his church.
Hey, did you?
Let's look into that.
Do you remember the greatest meme ever? And I'll stick by it.
If he owns his church, does he need
Scott
to?
says Osteen's net worth is $180 million.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
what I
not
was about to
surprised at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
then
if he doesn't accept if he owns the church,
right,
and he doesn't accept a salary, does that matter? I mean, if he owns the church,
Yeah, that's what most CEOs do.
Yeah.
What do
They
you mean
take
own
a
the
salary of
church?
$1.
that's his church. He owns that church.
Define own it. Like he.
I guess
his own
anything
business
that comes
company.
through.
It's a business.
The
He owns
actual
it.
church or the production company that sends out like the TV
I
part?
think
Probably the brick and mortar.
I think the church. I mean, he bought the
He
arena.
bought the Toyota Center.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think he owns the company that is the church.
But does he take a dividend from that, or
He does not receive a salary from Lakewood Church. He charges money for book sales and, he makes money from book sales, and then speaking engagements, he charges between $50 and $75,000.
So he's surviving.
Oh, he's doing just fine. I mean, his money comes off his side hustles, basically.
See if you can find the meme. It was the greatest one ever. The best edition of Undercover Boss ever would be at Osteen's church.
Jesus.
Yeah, you got Jesus there. See if you can find that.
That
good.
is very funny. Look, I'm not a huge Joel Osteen supporter, but I do think the guy gets unfairly tagged for A, the size of his church, and B, the amount of money he makes. There's no prohibition of a pastor doing what he's done, selling books and doing speaking engagements for money. Now, what he does with that money, God will hold him accountable for that. I'm not the one that holds him accountable for it.
There you go.
That is pretty funny.
Is Osteen one of the televangelists with the private jet, or is that a different guy I'm thinking of?
Well, there are several of those.
yeah,
You're probably thinking
he's-
that Kenneth Copeland is the one you're probably
That's
thinking of.
what I'm thinking of.
But I think
He's
Osteen's got
some strange
one for
eyes.
sure.
Osteen's got one, but Osteen, I believe, has probably done enough in book sales and things like that to actually afford it. You got a lot of preachers that are on TV scamming poor people, saying God told me I needed a plane, and if you don't give it to me, you're going against God's will. And all I got to say is that plane's probably not going to fly you out of hell, which is probably where you're headed when you're doing stuff
Who
like
was
that.
the chick, the blonde hair, and she had the plane crash? outside of Nashville the last couple of years.
She's a pastor?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Paula White?
She had weird hair.
Oh, I don't know.
But they did a documentary. I think it was on Netflix.
Gwen Shambla Lauren?
Yep.
Laura?
Yep.
Wow.
That's it.
Well, you watch a lot
Tyler.
of documentaries.
Yeah. But her plane went down, by the way.
That's bad.
Third down.
I think that was third down.
Okay, fourth down.
Fourth down.
Around the Horn, canceled after 23 years. I don't know if you guys saw this. You're probably going to lose sleep tonight. But if I asked you shows with good longevity that you never liked or understood.
So you didn't like Around the Horn?
I'll tell you this. We had Tony Reale on the show like 20 years ago. Nicest guy in the world. I give him a lot of credit for being able to hang. I never liked that show. And it was probably more so panel and the scoring so subjective.
Right. The scoring where he could give 4 to...
Yeah.
That always bothered me, but he was like a producer for
PTI, I think.
PTI, yeah. And he was part of that and had good on-camera presence, and they gave him the show. Last episode's May 23rd. I like PTI. I've never loved the sports reporters. Used to be on Sunday mornings.
Hated that show.
It was terrible.
Didn't like to hear people sit around bitch and moan all the time. Don't really like Get Up or Pardon the Interruption.
Did you like Grey's Anatomy? We're taking it outside the sports world.
I thought we were.
No, I'm
just
just doing
ESPN shows.
I'm talking about.
I like Grey's Anatomy in the first couple of years. What episode? It was an episode where it sort of jumped the shark for me.
But I think it's still going, right?
Oh, it is.
And like soap operas are the ones at like 50 plus years. But I know I'm in the minority. South Park, I never really got it. I was never a big fan.
I think Scott has the right answer in the chat. He says Friends, and I'm right there with him. I've never understood people's love for that.
I don't either. Special Victims Unit, like Dick Wolf did a really good job, I thought, with Law and Order. But Special Victims Unit is the same thing.
Yeah, I did not like any of the other Law and Orders except the original one.
Yeah, I never really watched Around the Horn. I don't know that I've ever sat down and actually watched an episode. I'm familiar with the show, and I get the concept, but I don't think I've really ever watched. I used to watch PTI some, but I haven't watched that forever.
It would. There was a time it would come on. It would be on right before.
It would lead into PTI, yeah.
Yeah, or it would be coming out of PTI, and then it would be. Yeah. It would be on before basketball would start or something would start on ESPN. And that is 4 downs today. And we appreciate our friends at A+ bringing us that. When we come back, we'll do our spotlight today. Some more college football for you. A new selection committee announced yesterday. 5 new members and a new chairman. How this could be better for the SEC. Didn't think the committee makeup last year was good for the Southeastern Conference. This committee, I think, is a little bit better for the Southeastern Conference. I'll explain why when we come back on the show that's brought to you by our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. UCA will take care of you, all your prostate health, kidney stones, everything in between. Early detection is so important. 205-930-0920. 930-0920, Urology Centers, Alabama.com. Those 16 locations with great doctors there to help you. Those locations all over Central Alabama. Find one near you. Schedule an appointment today. 205-930-0920. Urology Centers, Alabama.com.
Follow Dunaway on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Dunaway.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone, the New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service. Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemphill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemphill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemphill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs,
Trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
There's no off-season at covercrimson.com. Sign up now and get daily shows plus behind-the-scenes intel that will keep your Alabama fandom rolling all the way up until kickoff. Follow Cover Crimson on all social platforms and sign up today at covercrimson.com.
As we all know, there's no off-season when it comes to college football. If you want to stay in the know with all things Auburn, join us over on thebarnauburn.com and get $25 off your annual subscription. We'll keep you up to date and give you exclusive content all the way to the first Saturday of football season on thebarnauburn.com.
Take TNR on the go with a podcast built for your satisfaction. Miss Hour 1? Find it in podcast form. Miss Hour 2? Stream it now. Miss Hour 3? Download it for later. Miss Hour 4? Well, just know it's never coming back. Listen to TNR wherever you find podcasts.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Looking to expand your business? Let the Next Round help you. Contact us, sales@nextroundlive.com, and be part of the team. Advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential customers on our ever-expanding platforms. The Next Round can take your business to the next level. Join our existing partners in the fastest-growing media space, both live and on demand, while reaching the most desirable audience for your business. Get more information by emailing sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level using the Next Round.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Back with you on the Next Round, show being brought to you by a couple of great sponsors. One of them, LT, is our friends at Michelson Laser Vision.
Yeah, one of the best decisions I made was going to see Dr. Mark Michelson over 20 years ago. I had the 20/200 vision. I was legally blind without the aid of contacts. Now 20/15 vision, better than 20/20. Stop wasting money on glasses or contacts. Make the phone call that I made, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the Next Round sent you. She's going to hook you up with that hassle-free consultation. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
First segment today, we spent most of the time talking about Texas A&M's big upset over Auburn last night, number one in the country, 83-72. First time ever A&M's beaten the number one team in the country. Tonight, two national championship contenders, Florida and Alabama in Tuscaloosa, 6 o'clock, ESPN 2, postgame show on our video platforms. Here is Mark Sears talking about lessons learned from the end of the Tennessee loss on Saturday. Here's the captain.
Nate talked about it. If you guys can learn from that, the last 30 seconds, it could be the best thing that happened from that in terms of getting better in in-game situations. I guess, how can you learn from that, and what ways are you already learning from it?
Yeah, just the small things. You know, if we can just fix the small things. We had that game won, but you know, just the small things. But would rather having that now than in when it really matters.
So I'm going to ask you guys. This is his last game ever at Coleman Coliseum.
Could he have said, point this to Coach Oates, by the way, what he could do better in the last 30 seconds? A couple of timeouts here and there, personnel in there.
Coach kind of filled us. Yeah.
He could have. So my question is, with Mark Sears' final home game tonight, his senior night, with all the other seniors there this evening, but Mark Sears specifically, LT, what's his legacy at Alabama? How will Mark Sears be remembered?
I think if you did a starting five, he would be in your starting five.
I was trying to think, is he one of the 5 greatest Alabama players of all time?
I think last year, if you're just doing a singular year, I think you've got to say Mark Sears had the best singular year of an Alabama player, and it could still get better, even with the hiccups against Oregon and LSU. Over his last 4 games, he's averaging 28 points per game. And this is a guy that is still capable of making those big shots. You talked about the 3 against Tennessee. I thought that was going to be the dagger. But he is a guy that can still carry this team once they get to the tournament. And if they were to go back to a Final Four or maybe even deeper, his legacy's not complete yet. But I do think he has solidified himself. If I'm going one of the starting guards on an all-time Alabama team, I've got to have Sears, one of those 2 guys.
Daniel says he's absolutely on Bama Hoops Mount Rushmore.
So that's one of the 4 greatest. Because there's only 4 heads. Let's just go starting lineup, get away from the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, it's a problem with this is I think a lot of our listeners don't remember, and I don't either, to be honest with you, but the Leon Douglases, the Buck Johnsons. The Mule Kings. I mean, the T.R. Dunns. I mean, there were great players in the 70s and early 80s that a lot of these kids don't even know about.
So I remember all of them. But when it comes to just popularity, Mark Sears was the face of the team that went to the Final Four, and that will cement him in a certain place regardless.
That means something for sure. Yeah.
Like Joe Namath was not one of the top 5, top 10, top 15 greatest quarterbacks of all time in the NFL, but he's got a place in NFL lore because of what he did in the NFL. Mark Sears' legacy is that he was the guy that led Alabama to their first ever Final Four. And as you said, I mean, another deep run this year, Elite 8, Final Four, it's only going to build on what his legacy is. On strictly playing the guard position, I don't know if he makes the first team All-Alabama team. Maybe he does.
I don't know.
I think he would.
He's the best 3-point shooter in school history, probably. So that's got to get you. That's got to get you something out there.
He's better than Godfrey and Farmer, who was on that great
as far as shooting,
or
just being a guard. Yeah,
Hollywood Robinson was really good.
I mean, I would go Enos Wadley and Hollywood Robinson would be the 2 guards that would contend.
But Sears is probably the best scoring guard Alabama's ever had.
I would say that too.
Yeah.
I would say that.
Latrell, I mean, I guess Latrell's more 2 or 3.
Yeah. I mean, we used to define it differently back then, but you put Spreewell now would play.
Yeah.
He would play a
I tell
3.
you, finding the 5 is tough because McKee was so freaking good. Robert Horry was so good.
And then Lance, you run into guys like Brandon Miller, who was spectacular for 1 year, but it was 1 year only.
Well, so was Gerald Wallace.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do with those guys?
But Wallace nowhere close to this conversation with what he did in Tuscaloosa. Back to the basketball.
Wow, he was being played out of position.
Richard Hendricks, really, really good.
You're not even named probably, in my opinion, one of the best of all time, Antonio McDyess.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And
that
guys,
didn't get to Leon.
You know what
There's
happens?
a lot of love in the chat room for Herb Jones, too, a guy that was not going to fill up the stat sheet, but was just a tremendous Alabama basketball player, Herb Jones was.
But, McDyess is one of those guys, if he would have had the success we thought he would have in the NBA, if he would have stayed away from the injuries, we probably have him a lot higher. And I think a lot of this, unfortunately for Sears, is going to be dependent on what he does in his chapter after.
Let's see, and it's
not fair, but
that's going to
the reality of the situation.
Likely is going to diminish because most people don't think he's going to have a great NBA career. There are some analysts now coming around that says it doesn't matter when you can shoot like he shoots. It doesn't matter.
Well, Jalen Brunson, I really don't know how tall Jalen Brunson is.
Everybody makes that comparison. Yeah. Every single person compares him to Brunson.
But
and we know he's at least 6'1".
Watching him the other night just take over a game in the fourth quarter for the Knicks, I mean, he's just one of these guys that can score at any time. And we are one day going to have a guy that is 5'11" that's going to play in the NBA, and he's going to be really effective.
Maybe that's the guy. Yeah, maybe it's Mark Sears.
I wonder, I mean, one thing Sears does as well as anybody in the country is draw fouls in the paint. And it's
less this year, though. He's getting less of those calls.
Well, I don't you think that's the officials adjusting to it? Because Sears will sell it, too, now. Sears is really good about that first bit of contact.
Yeah.
Throwing his head back like that.
If you noticed last night, Chad Baker-Mazara suckered the referee into a call early on in front of the A&M bench. It was the first half. And then a couple of times after that where I thought he was fouled worse than he was on that one, where he sold it, he didn't get the call because I think the referee realized that he sort of suckered me into that call. And then the other two times when I thought he was legitimately fouled more than he was the first time, he didn't get the call.
Yeah.
And I think now Mark Sears is not getting the call in the lane because a lot of times he has
well, I mean, first
manipulated
of all,
it and drew the foul, which is totally legal.
Yeah, these same officials are doing games all the time, so they see it a lot. They go back and watch their film, and they're like, yeah, boy, he sold me on that one. So it's only human nature to say, I'm not going to fall for that one again.
That's right.
Yeah, so no, he is getting less of that this year. He was so good at it last year. Almost any time he went in the paint, he was shooting free throws.
Like in the Auburn game, I don't feel like he got a ton of them.
Yeah.
I feel like the Tennessee game, he didn't get a ton of them. There's been a couple of them. Ole Miss, he didn't get any of them in that game.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
He's really good at it, but he's getting less this year than he did last year. During the freaking tournament last year, he could go to the free throw line anytime he wanted.
Yep.
Anytime he wanted to.
Yeah, I would say best shooting guard in Alabama history and best three-point shooter in Alabama history. So that's got to
But still has an opportunity to be the best player in Alabama history.
Yeah.
I mean, if they win a national championship, he's your most outstanding player. I don't know how you would deny it at that
most
point.
popular player in Alabama basketball history at that point. And what's so crazy, typical world we live in, just like, during the bowl game, people are like, I'm so tired of Milroe at quarterback. And then the next play, he's running, slopping down the right side for 40 yards. Like, run. God, love it when he runs like that.
We saw it play out real time at walk-ons.
That's right. It was the ball game, right? It's like,
Yeah.
God, this guy sucks. I'm so ready for him to move on. Then he goes, run, Jalen, run. I love it when he runs like that. Well, you said he sucked 15 seconds ago. There's the same people that will say Mark Sears is the most popular, greatest shooter of all time, who tonight will bitch. When they're sitting there, he's like, he dribbles too much.
If he's got 6 turnovers.
He dribbles too much. Yeah, it's just the world we live in. All right, show being brought to you today, before we do our spotlight, by our buddies at New York Butcher Shop. Just wonderful food there. You're there probably more than any of us, LT.
I had an opportunity to stop by yesterday, the Cabo Heights location. 2 great locations. That's the original Highway 119 in Greystone as well. From the delicious steaks, ribs, chicken, those fantastic side items like the goat cheese, mashed potatoes, that rice recipe, which he still needs to package that thing up. But the deli sandwiches you can get for lunch or dinner. Fantastic selection of fine wines and desserts. New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Get in and see Jim and that great staff today.
The College Football Spotlight
is presented by Alexander Shinora Trial Attorneys. The Shinora Spotlight every single day. $2 billion recovered for their clients, maintaining Alexander's core values: integrity, mastery, passion, and success. If you find yourself in need of an attorney, call the Alexander Shinora Trial Attorneys. You pay nothing unless they win your case.
Love getting to know their story. Good local guy there. Alexander Shinara employs a lot of great local people down at his firm. Let's keep it local with the College Football Selection Committee. They introduced 5 new members last night. And I think these play more to the liking of the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten. Remember last year you ended up getting how many ACC teams? You got
2, almost 3.
Almost 3. You got 2 in there, and there was not a lot of didn't seem to be a lot of favoritism to the Southeastern Conference, the difficulty of the grind in the SEC, the brands, the teams you had to play. Tell me if these new members will be a little bit different. First, Middle Tennessee State AD Chris Mazzara is in there, or Mascara. He's the AD. Okay, so he's one of the new ones. These other 4, though, I think really big benefit for the Southeastern Conference. Former head coach of Michigan State, Mark D'Antonio. I think Mark D'Antonio will respect what the Big Ten and the SEC has to do more than some of the people on the committee. I think that's an advantage for the 2 super leagues.
Yep, I would agree.
Next up is Maryland Athletic Director, another Big Ten AD. This one is. That was a Big Ten coach former. This is an AD. Damon Evans, who has
former Georgia.
Yeah, great background in the SEC as well. But he's a Big Ten guy. I think that we respect the 2 big conferences there.
That was the guy that you never thought would survive the panty scandal.
Panties in the backseat.
But yeah,
right?
I mean,
Yep.
from SEC to Big Ten, he is a guy that will.
He knows power conferences and the grind there and the importance of the bids. Former Ole Miss tight end Wesley Walls is now on the committee. Speaks for itself. He's an SEC guy right there. And then the media representative.
Which I still don't think we need one of these, but okay.
The great Ivan Maisel.
Well, I trust Ivan.
Is now on the selection committee.
Ivan has spent a life looking at SEC football. Grew up in Mobile.
Wrote books about it.
Went to Alabama. I know he did
Yeah,
not go
look,
to
those are
Alabama.
very credible
Anyway.
guys. I can't tell you who was on the committee last year. I don't know if you guys remember.
Well, they pulled off some guys in a lady that I don't think have been around a lot of major college football before. I didn't think it worked to the SEC's benefit last year. Some of the folks on the committee, I don't have all the names in front of me. But then the new chair of the committee is Mack Rhodes. He is the current AD at Baylor, who before that was at Missouri as well.
Well, really, the only controversy, we wouldn't have had any if SMU doesn't make that comeback in the ACC championship game. Alabama's in, SMU's out. So, I mean, I don't really remember much controversy on Selection Sunday.
There are two things that could have eliminated controversy. Either Alabama beats Oklahoma, which SMU would have been toast no matter what they did in that game. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yes.
If Alabama beats Oklahoma, SMU's got no path except by beating Clemson.
That's it.
Or even with Alabama's loss to Oklahoma, if SMU had gotten blown out of that game.
Oh, Bama was getting in. The way that first half played out,
yeah,
Bama
that was perfect for
Yeah.
Alabama.
But controversy was low anyway because I think even a lot of Alabama fans.
Yeah, we're like, dang, we're not that good.
I don't think we're that good. I don't think we deserve to be in there.
As I mentioned, the Oklahoma game, that was hard to forget for both the selection committee and Alabama fans.
So there you go. That's the spotlight today on the new selection committee, how it probably helps the NFL out a little bit. Brought to you by the great folks with Shannara.
Shannara personal injury attorneys. They are Shannara trial attorneys. In fact, right now, don't forget, they handle not only personal injury claims, but claims for fire and storm damage, bad drug and device claims, disability, workers' compensation, and a host of other claims at Shannara Trial Attorneys.
Looked like at one point Neil Brown, former Troy head coach, former West Virginia head coach, looked like he was going to be the Virginia Tech offensive coordinator. That didn't happen. He instead has joined the Texas coaching staff. He'll be an analyst with Steve Sarkisian down there, his path back to being a coach.
It's probably a good spot.
Almost like the old Saban plan there.
Man, I tell you, things can change in just mere months. You know, what is it, College Game Day, or at least McAfee's show. Who did West Virginia open with? Penn State last year.
Yeah.
And I remember, oh my gosh, Garrett Green showing up with a Neil Beasley shirt.
Yeah.
And like Neil Brown he was, on the hottest of hot seats going into 2023. Won 8 or 9 games. See, this is why I think Billy Napier's still in trouble. And then comes back last year and doesn't live up to the hype, and he ultimately gets fired. But, man, I mean, a year ago at this time, Neil Brown thought he was cruising in the right direction.
It started turning bad in that Penn State game. Penn State, there was a huge weather delay, and then Penn State kind of owned the rest of the game, and he just never recovered.
Steve Spurrier Jr. is an analyst back at Florida on Billy Napier's staff. And speaking of West Virginia, Rich Rodriguez brings up a great point. He's now the head coach at West Virginia. And if you guys are not familiar with what's happening on July 1, the new rules are in, the revenue share and all that, but also it's going to limit your roster to 105, which sounds enormous. I know if you pay attention to the NFL and you got a 53-man roster. 105 sounds like, what's the big deal? Rich Rod makes this point. He says, listen, we should grandfather in all the people that are already on these campuses, these walk-ons that are already on campus. They should be grandfathered in, and when they leave, then we can whittle down to 105. Don't add any new walk-ons, because when I make these cuts and other schools make these cuts on July 1, a lot of these kids aren't going to have a place to go. There's not going to be a place for them to go. Let's just grandfather them in. It makes perfect sense. Why we don't do that, I don't know. But if you're already a walk-on...
But is that still a possibility?
I think he and other coaches are trying to push for this. But right now, there's a hard 105 deadline coming up in July. But if I'm already a walk-on at Auburn, at Alabama, at Tennessee, at Georgia, I should be able to stay there even if we exceed our limit for this year. Just don't add any new walk-ons at that point.
Yeah.
If we're at 109 this year,
let it naturally reduce. That's
right.
what he's saying.
That's right.
That does make a lot of sense. I don't know if anybody will listen to it.
As my dad used to say, there's book smart and there's country smart. Rich Rod, country smart. on that right there. All right, NFL news right here. Saquon Barkley gets a new contract. 2-year, $41.2 million extension. That is $20.6 million per year. It's the most for a running back in a single season. It is now more than Christian McCaffrey. $36 million of this is guaranteed for Saquon. Is this a resetting of the running back market now that we've seen how important the running back position is again? Or is this just Saquon Barkley is that good?
I think it's a combination. And I do think if you're a running back out there, this is a breath of fresh air, especially with what you've got coming up in the draft with Ashton Genty, O'Mary, and Hampton. Both guys are going to be first-round guys. When's the last time we saw 2 running backs taken in the first round?
Yeah.
How about there's a chance? I mean, it's a wild chance, but there is a chance 2 running backs in the first round, 1 quarterback in the first round. There's a chance.
Only Cam Ward?
Boy, that would blow me away. But even 2 for 2. Like, I think it's probably going to be 2 for 2.
Well, I mean, we've had the conversation, I think, on the show before, will there ever be another first-round running back? I mean, I think we've had that conversation.
Well, I mean, Saquon was the difference.
Yeah.
Philadelphia got to a Super Bowl 2 years ago. They couldn't close the deal. They were able to close it. Saquon was the ultimate closer this year for that team.
But Saquon was fantastic. That's the best offensive line in the NFL, though. Like, Saquon was doing some of that behind that Giants offensive line, but he wasn't doing that. I mean,
But I do think it's a combination of both.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have easily broken the all-time rushing record. So here's the money you deserve. We won a championship.
But
if I'm a running back, I feel a lot better about the position.
I feel like we got a running back revival a little bit going on right now. Like, one of the talks out of the combine was how fast Jarquez Hunter ran the 40, and Miami just dressed fast guys, so he's probably on Miami's radar now as fast as he ran that 40. But I mean, it just goes to show you. Wait and see what happens to Jarquez Hunter. I mean, if he gets drafted maybe in the 2nd round, I don't know.
Yeah, listen, there's nobody more important to what the Buccaneers offense did than Mike Evans, than Baker Mayfield. But the reason the Bucs were good, it was Bucky Irving.
Yeah.
That's the reason their offense hummed.
A rookie running back.
Yeah.
And that's been kind of the mentality of the general manager. Like, if you can find a quarterback on a rookie deal that is an elite quarterback, I mean, it's the best situation to be in. But I think a lot of these general managers were like, we're just going to find rookie running backs on these contracts.
And Bijan was really good with the Falcons.
He was. Derrick Henry with Baltimore. And with Derrick Henry, you just look at him. Every quarterback that has played in front of him has had career years. That's not an accident, right? I mean, you just saw it. He didn't win the MVP, but Lamar Jackson had as good a seasons he's ever had.
Yeah,
probably could have won the MVP.
Combo yards, Saquon and Derrick Henry over the last 2 years. But behind them, I think with combination touchdowns and yards, I think it's Kyren Williams with the Rams, and nobody talks about him. But he's on a rookie contract out of Notre Dame. But Saquon has really led the revival.
Yeah.
Yeah, helped out by he's got a quarterback that can run a little bit, but also he's got a really good receiving core that loosens up that defense for him to run.
But if you list their skill, like their quarterbacks in last place, I mean, you would go Saquon and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
The offensive line.
And Dallas Goedert and the offensive line, and then the quarterback. So it is kind of an unusual formula they've got here, but it does work.
Jalen is almost East Coast Brock Purdy. When Brock Purdy was really good with the 49ers, they had so much talent around him.
How could he not be good?
And that's going to be fascinating to see what John Lynch and the 49ers do with the contract of Brock Purdy.
Their initial offer was $45 million AAV, which would have put him at number 12 to 14 in the league at quarterbacks.
So
that's their initial offer.
That's fair.
Wait. So they're offering him $45 million a year,
annual average value. Yes,
but I mean that's mid-tier.
It's more than fair.
Yeah, if that puts you about 12 to 15, that's where he belongs.
Where sometimes, like if I was in that situation, I'd have to step. Like you pay your representation to do their job, but I'm like, hey, dude, I'm getting $45 million. I was Mr. Irrelevant. I was lucky that I ended up with San Francisco.
Good franchise. Take it.
Yeah. They are close anyway because his representation wants $50 million.
Okay, wow, you'll get there.
AAV, to which gets him 10th. Top 10.
Yeah.
And he should not be a top 10.
He'll be at 47.5, I bet you.
Yeah.
They'll find the middle.
Meet in the middle there. All right, so when we come back, we'll talk basketball and set the table tonight a little bit more for Florida and Alabama and everything else going on in college basketball. It was a massive night on the bubble for the SEC. All the bubble teams won. We'll give you the latest on that. Getting ready for the SEC tournament next week in Nashville. We'll all be up there for that with our coverage on our platform at Next Round Live. Post-game tonight from Coleman on Next Round Live from Florida and Alabama. The show being brought to you today by our wonderful friends right there at Odie's. What day of the week is it?
It is Wednesday, but Brown will not be there. He's got a dinner he's got to attend tonight. So Get to attend. Yes. I will be there. Abby Jo is going to be in Brown's place, so she'll be playing the music. Me and Haver will be out there. Get out there a little bit early. I'm going to get there at 6 to watch Alabama, Florida, enjoy some of the great food from Rodney Davis, the award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches, like the Diablo sandwich, ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Birmingham Institution, 2 locations. The original in Crestline, which we will be at tonight for Odie's Team Trivia, newest location in Edgewood. Again, get in and see Will Haver and that great staff at Odie's Tavern.
Call the Next Round now at 205-734-0923.
Remember the name Way to Wellness if you're battling weight loss in your life. I'm Jim Dunaway from the Next Round. There was a time I was over 216 pounds until Way to Wellness helped me lose 45 pounds, and now for over 2 years, they've helped me keep that weight off. Here's their website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. That's a great name for a website because there's no cookie-cutter plan. Everything is designed specifically for you. No contract, no sign-up fees, and your first consultation is free at Way to Wellness.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service. Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Happy football season. At the Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
It's time to pull the trigger on the Next Round merch that you've been eyeing. We know there's a lot to choose from at nextround.store, so here's a few of our favorite picks. If you want to match LT and Brown, go with the TNR logo hoodie and throw in one of Dunaway's favorite hats. Any of them will do. The Backroom's go-to is the classic logo t-shirt, while my personal favorite is the light blue TNR crew neck. All of these items can be found at nextround.store and are EG approved. Rest assured, your order will be packed with lots of love from us here at the Next Round. Head over to nextround.store to start filling up your cart.
Hey friends, if you're looking to expand your business and inform the Next Round audience about your exciting brand, contact us at sales@nextroundlive.com to be part of the team and advertise your product to hundreds of thousands of potential consumers on our ever-expanding platform. Let the Next Round help take your business to the next level. Get more information by emailing us at sales@nextroundlive.com, and one of our team members will work with you to build a plan to take your business to the next level with the Next Round.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, final hour of the show, always brought to you by the wonderful, wonderful people at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Head up by that man right there, Sterling. He's the captain down there on Highway 119 in Alabaster. He's the captain now. Actually, over 10 years, one location, which tells you how successful that is. I was in there the other day, and to watch people come in for happy hour, early happy hour, to come in and have a business meeting. Somebody right next to me at a big round table was hosting a prospective employee, and they were talking about how they come there once a week, and the person was from out of town. They loved the vibe there. They were raving about the food. They were trying to sell them on coming to work for their company. Meanwhile, there was a family over there having a lunch when I was there. Just that kind of place that sort of is at the center of Alabaster. It's a destination place. If you got somebody who's looking to eat a good Southern meal, Southern fried chicken, they brine it overnight. They cook it to order. It's piping hot. The Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. It is so good. It's all right there. Highway 119 in Alabaster. It is Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. We will talk basketball now. Great night on the bubble last night for the SEC. Texas wins in Starkville against number 25 Mississippi State. They had to have it. Georgia won. They've now won 3 straight. Some are calling them a tournament lock now. And Arkansas got a win over Vandy. The bubble could not have been better for the SEC than it was last night.
Well, they go back at it tonight. Oklahoma back out there. Lance's favorite choice for the tournament. The Boomers Sooners back out there with a chance to work their way in. Dalen Cuff, you see him all the time on ESPN, talking college basketball. Hear him on Sirius XM as well, and he is with us now on the Shannara Hotline. Welcome in, Dalen. How are you today?
Doing well, fellas. We're hitting that point of the year where I'm tired of hearing my own voice, but it's great to be on with you. Let's talk. Let's chat.
Yes, we like hearing your
voice.
voice.
Well, just because you brought up Oklahoma, and look, and I know they're in action tonight, but I got to ask you, we've talked about there's got to be 68 teams, and we've also talked about this might be, or this is probably the greatest one season in SEC basketball history with all of these great teams. But how can a team right now that is 8 games under 500 in conference play be a tournament team?
Guys, have you seen the ACC this year? have you tuned in? Because it's tough over there. Like it is not good. And I'll tell you what, like the league, it's not. Is it the SEC's best year ever? It's bar none. It's the best conference season in the history of the game. I mean, the Big East got 11 teams in 2011. I think you're going to get 12 or maybe 13 SEC teams in. And you look at the depth of the league, because at the back end of that Big East last year, that year in 2011, there were some doldrums. There were some nights off and you can get a W. Ask anybody how easy it goes to Columbia, South Carolina, and win a game right now. Like it's not easy. Georgia, that win last night by Georgia was great. I mean, Auburn 1-possession game, A&M by 4. Florida got out of their skin of their teeth. And that team's won 2 games in the league. That team's also beaten Clemson, who's the second best team in the ACC. So this is what we're looking at now. Oklahoma specifically, I know they're struggling. They lost to Kentucky. Man, Otago was out of his mind last week, and that's heartbreaking for them because that's you got to win those home games when you have the opportunities. They're non-league wins, guys. I mean, they beat Arizona, they beat Louisville. Arizona's top 3 in the Big 12. Louisville's won 17 of 18 games right now. Like the committee, I think is going to look at those wins and they're going to carry value. Michigan, top 3 of the Big 10. Like those are going to carry value. I think if you're talking about the whole package, the whole breadth of the season, you have to look at that and value that. If a Virginia team last year could get in that was horrific at the end of the year and getting blown out by an average of like 18 points and get in and then get beat by 30, an Oklahoma team that's in games, late, tight games that can't close them, but has won them throughout the course of the season, I see why they could end up on the right side of the bubble. It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Well, they've lost 7 of 8, but I get it.
To your point on the ACC, we sent this out yesterday. Duke has had 11 wins in conference, 25 plus, 11 of them. Alabama, Florida, and Auburn have combined for 6. I mean, it's just absurd the level of competition Alabama, Auburn, Florida, and the rest of the SEC have had to play versus what Duke has had to face.
It's night and day. It's the players, the pros, the coaching is really good in the ACC. It's just they don't have the players. I mean, you need to have the dudes, and the league has the dudes, and they've got great coaches and great venues. And also how the college basketball is structured right now is if you win the games in November, December, that sets up the situation for January and February, and it's almost you can't change it. The SEC right before Christmas had won 80% of their games against the other Power 5 conferences. You add in the Big East as well. Like this is a dominant showing by them that makes sense. Now the ACC, it's just different. Like right now, they don't have the players, they don't have the depth. And I will say this about Duke. I've said this for weeks now, and I feel like people may echo it, people argue it. My concern with them is when you play in a late game situation, especially when you're led by freshmen, I want them to have been through those situations multiple times. I want them to look in the huddle and understand if you're down 3 with a minute to go, what we got to do. If you're up 3, how we're going to get it done. And to be comfortable and confident that you can. They've only played in a handful of close games. The only real close game in league play, they lost to Clemson. At Wake Forest, it was like a 6-point game. They went zone, great call by Shire, and that changed the whole complexion of the last 5 minutes of that game. But late game against Clemson, they collapsed. They could not make the right plays. They also attacked Cooper Flagg offensively and put him in some real tough spots. And he struggled in that regard, whether it was Chase Hunter going at him or Locken going at him. Then you go to look, the last time they played in close games before that was November and December. In Kentucky and Kansas, again, Knipple has it late in one game, turns it over. Cooper has it late in his hands one game, turns it over, they lose. You need to be battle tested, I feel like. There's one and have the understanding of what it takes to win. To win 6-6 in March and April, I feel like you have to have been through it. So that's my concern with them as being the betting favorite right now to win the whole thing. I don't agree with that. I wouldn't put my money there. I think they can easily get to a Final Four, but from the cut down the nets, they're going to have to survive some games in the tournament, and that's not at all what they've had to do, and that concerns me.
Speaking of cutting down the nets or getting to the Final Four, we've got one of those type of matchups tonight just down the road from us, Florida and Alabama. When you look at this Florida basketball team, inside, outside, they seem to have everything it would take to win the national championship. What do you think of what Todd Golden has done there with that program, and how good does that team look when you watch them?
Todd, the great coach. Todd started his coaching career at my alma mater with Kyle Smith. He learned under Kyle. Obviously, he played for Randy Bennett for 5 years. And Todd's a great guy, great coach, and has done an outstanding job. He has an outstanding staff as well that has supported him. And he's got good players and puts them in the right positions to win. And to your point, I think they're a team that's coming to the national consciousness. You could get them at 25-1 to win the championship back in November. That number now is like 8-1. And they're the biggest movers in terms of like real contenders. And you see why. Offensively, they're an elite team. Great guard play. Whether it's Richard or Martin or Clayton or Aberdeen off the bench, really good guards where it's trite but true. In March, guards win you games. They can make something out of nothing. They can convert. They are changing the way in which you can win a game most times. Offensive rebounding, one of the elite offensive rebounding teams in the country. They got Biggs and Condon and now Handlock getting healthy again, and Houck that can stretch the floor and play inside. Shinny Lou's great on the interior. They offensive rebound at elite level, top 5 in the nation. And last but not least, they're way better defensively, man. They are hard to break down, they're hard to score against. Tonight's game is really interesting. Obviously, Alabama coming off a game where they essentially gave it to Tennessee down the stretch. The last 90 seconds, they did not execute well. And Nate Oates did a great job taking accountability afterwards, said it's on me. And I get that as a coach. He's a great coach, and he would say that. The players also know that there were like mistakes on every possession that are on the players. Like Filan, you have to give the ball to Sears. Like Mark has to have the ball in his hands at the end of the game. When you're unbounding the ball underneath, you have to screen hard to cut hard to get open. 5-second violation. There's a bunch of mistakes made. So them now returning home, I think it's going to be a great game. That over/under, guys, 178.5.
Yep. Crazy.
Yep. That is a monster number for college basketball. And I think Alabama, Kentucky, wasn't it 181? I feel like there might have been one higher in. Was it around there?
Yeah, it was right around 180. Yep.
Okay, so I thought in my head there was another one recently that was really high, and that's really high. I do think the under is in play here, which is a scary proposition when you're dealing with the Crimson Tide, because I think Florida's going to want to run some sets and slow it and make Alabama play in a half-court game. Not that Florida can go up and down, but if you make Alabama play differently than that I think that takes them off their apex. When they're at their best is when they are grabbing that ball off the rim and they're going and they're making you do the same thing. Are you shooting quick shots? Are you taking quicker threes? Are you playing at a pace that you cannot sustain? So I wonder about pace control in this game. So I'm going to lean to a very close but entertaining, like 174-point game. I can see that happening, but I think it's going to be a great game. I would lean to Alabama winning for sure, and probably covering at -2.5, given the situation that they're coming off of. But these are two teams these are two of my favorite teams to win the championship. It's those two and Auburn, in my mind, are the three favorites to win this thing.
Dalen Cuff playing very heavy SEC, which is very good here in Birmingham, and we appreciate him doing that.
So when you say championship, you mean national championship, right?
Not just conference.
I mean national.
Okay.
I mean the one that everybody's going to be locked in on. That SEC tournament's going to be awesome. But guys, the SEC tournament entry is in day one. Like there could be play-in games before they enter to get in the NCAA tournament. So that first day there, I think, is like one of the most intriguing first days of a conference tournament we've ever seen, because usually those are afterthoughts. Not in this league.
So your fear, though, with Duke is they haven't played in tight games, which I get that because their 18 conference wins are by almost 24 points per game. But when you look at teams like Houston and maybe even getting into St. John's and Michigan State, what are the faults with those teams?
Houston, I think Houston's right there. I think Houston and Duke are the two most likely contenders to win it outside of the three SEC teams, which I would lean towards. Partially because their cultures, they're going to defend, they're going to offensive rebound, they're going to make you feel them on every possession, and it's just hard to play against them. They'll turn you over. It's tough. This team can shoot the ball better, though. They don't take a ton of threes, but they shoot it around 39%. Sharp's been really good most of the season when he's been healthy. LJ Cryer is maybe the player of the year in the Big 12. I don't know. That's an interesting conversation, but he takes and makes a lot of big shots. They play through Roberts now at times late games. They'll play him out of short roll and let him kind of do stuff for you away from the basket a bit. So offensively, they're much better. They can make shots. So there aren't many faults with Houston. The problem is sometimes they can get stuck. And Milos Uzan, guys, he may be the most improved player in the country over the course of the season. And he's been outstanding for them the last 2 months. So there's not a lot of faults with them. Sometimes they can get stuck offensively. Michigan State, my concern is the same one with St. John's. You're going to defend. You're going to rebound. You got to make shots, boys. At some point, you got to make shots. And both those teams are bottom 50 or bottom 60 in the nation in three-point percentage. They want to get downhill. They need to get downhill. They need to turn you over. Michigan State really wants to play fast, and they can be that can work. I think the formula, though, when you get into the Final Four, Elite Eight situation, shot making is going to be necessary to win some of those games, and that's where I waver on both those teams. The coaching, of course, is outstanding with Pitino and Izzo, but they can't go out there and make guys make three-pointers, and that's not what either team does very well.
ESPN's Dalen Cuff with us on the Alexander Shinora Trial Attorneys Hotline, and you can follow him on social media with his name right there, just to add Dalen Cuff. This is a tough question on the fly. I'm going to say that before I ask the question. But Texas A&M and Buzz Williams, they give Auburn fits. Buzz Williams has had Bruce Pearl's number. Bruce Pearl will tell you that, right? And he said it again after the game last night, which was obvious. Is there another team that Auburn could face nationally in the NCAA tournament that can do to them what Texas A&M does to them, where if you're an Auburn fan, you see that name pop up in a bracket, you're like, oh, crap, they got some Texas A&M DNA in them?
Well, it's funny you said it, because last night, you got to look at the spot, too. Like, they just won the SEC championship.
Yeah.
They come off of that. It's this massive mountain decline. People are celebrating, and rightfully so. A&M's lost 4 straight. And what does A&M do, to your point, from a stylistic standpoint? They're one of the best offensive rebounding. They're the best offensive rebounding team in the country. They get to the free throw line really well. What is Auburn's two kind of weaknesses? You got to find them. They're an average defensive rebounding team, and they can foul and put you on the line. Their defensive free throw rate is not good. So, yes, stylistically and in the spot, that was not good. That was why at ESPN Bet Live yesterday, Texas A&M plus 4.5 was the play that we were talking about, because it just seemed like they would cover. Now, did I think they'd win and control the whole game? No. But they did cover. So to answer your question, we've already seen it happen once this year. I think it is Florida. Florida defends at offensive rebounds at an elite level. They get to the free throw line. The same two weaknesses. They have guards that can make. They have more guards that can make shots, and we obviously saw them go into the Plains, which is the most impressive win in the season, and win that game in a multi-possession game. So I think that's a thing that you wouldn't be scared to see them, but and everybody like that, they're well aware of what Florida's about and how Florida could potentially exploit some of these areas where Auburn is not elite. And this is comparing to Auburn's excellent at everything and average at those two things. which the average can survive and can win you a championship in those two areas. But from a recipe and a style standpoint and who Florida has on their roster, that'd be a concern.
In about 12 days, America will be filling out their bracket, right? Mm-hmm. So what do I look at, and just a little advice, do I look at like a BYU team who seems to be so good right now? Or do I remember what Iowa State, they played each other last night, ironically, but when Iowa State was playing at Maui, and just after that, I was like, dang, Iowa State can win the national championship. Should I look more recently, or should I remember what a team can possibly do at their best? How do you approach it when you're filling out a bracket?
A recency matters. Health matters too. Obviously, that's the most obvious thing. But like, if you want to pick a team to win a championship, make sure they got all their guys. Let's just start there. Make sure that somebody's not carrying an injury, or somebody didn't sit out in the conference tournament, or something of that nature. But I do think that the team sheets for the committee should go back to. You should have the last 10 games on there. That doesn't exist as a metric anymore. They took it off like 4 or 5 years ago. It makes no sense to me in today's transfer portal, or how much teams are developing and changing over the course of the year. You should want the teams playing the best at the right time. I think as you're filling out your bracket, those things definitely matter. But to your question, Iowa State is one of those teams where they have been not healthy for a lot of these ups and downs through the course of the year. They're getting fully healthy. Last night's win was more about BYU than it was about Iowa State. Like they played really terribly at the beginning of the game and endured through that. They space you, they make shots. They got pros too, folks. If you're looking at rosters, take a look at the projections for the NBA draft. They're not always right. But talent wins games sometimes. And BYU, whether it's Demon or Saunders, they got NBA players. And I would say there's really good players, and maybe some in the NBA, but that wasn't that shocking when you look at who the players have, who they're coached, and how they play. But how you're playing, but also once everybody's healthy, how good is your good? Scott Van Pelt says it all the time. SVP will always say, how good is your good? Iowa State's good is really good. So, yes, you do look back and see where these teams hit their apex, who they're playing, who they beat, and did they remain healthy? Or learn about the storylines a little bit. That helps you understand where teams went up and down. Now, I realize most people get their bracket and just say, my mom went to Iowa State, or I like the Cyclones, or whatever. But there are other ways to do this thing.
You've already told us your three favorites, all from the SEC, and Auburn, Florida, Alabama. Whether it's 11, 12, 13, how many teams come out of that conference? I'm going to include Tennessee here. Outside of those top four, who do you think can make the deepest run, make a Final Four run to San Antonio?
Missouri. I think what Dennis Gates has done has been outstanding. They play deep, they turn you over, they stress you on both ends of the floor, they make shots, and they're playing with incredible confidence. And they've won games on the road, they've won games at home, and they beat Florida at Florida, who have just sung their praises for a while here now. So I think Missouri is that team that could make a deep run. And I think you have to be able to play on both sides of the ball and play in different types of games, and to be able to win a couple tournament games, to win 2 or 3 or 4. And I think they can do that.
All right, before you go, Dalen, in the chat room, Keith wants to know the book over your right shoulder on Churchill. Do you have a brief review on that book?
That one is long, as well as the Frederick Douglass one, boys. This is the summer. They're each like 800 pages long. We have not opened them. We have not read them yet. Everything else has been consumed up here. Churchill has not been read yet. Neither has Douglass. So the summer, we're going to get a little beach time in, and we're working on our reading.
Oh, yeah.
Until then,
Churchill, real good beach read there.
Churchill, the beach.
Well, so I
that's a Columbia guy speaking.
There you go. Let's get deep on the beach. We're going to do it. Let's do it right.
All right. Follow him on social media at Dalen Cuff, at Dalen Cuff. See him on ESPN throughout the NCAA basketball season. Thank you very much for the time. Always great catching up with you.
Anytime, guys. Be well.
All right, buddy. Take care. Dalen with us. By the way, on the Shannara hotline, Alexander Shannara, trial attorneys.
I complain about how heavy my Yeti is walking down to the beach. His book bag looked heavy. 800 pages. That's crazy. 600 pages too long.
It's a big book.
That thing would only get used for me if we went off the grid and I had to, ran out of wood to burn.
The Churchill book?
Yeah.
I like that we picked the two, or one of the two he hadn't read. He says, I've read all the rest of them. I haven't read, but that one jumped out. I noticed it too.
The show also being brought to you today by our buddy Dr. B, the guys that got LT and Brown's hair looking really good.
Hey, if you're starting to thin out, get preemptive on this. T3, new test. So easy, painless, affordable. Takes 4 seconds to perform. It's going to show which medicines and compounds will specifically work for your hair loss. There are over 10 categories categories of agents that they use, knowing they will work for you. They will custom compound these agents for you in pillow topical forms. You pick and choose which agents you want. Stop wasting your money, critical time while you're losing hair on treatments that aren't working for you. Come see Dr. B and that great staff. Find out what will work. Men and women ordering Hims, other products online, don't even know if they work. Make the phone call that I made years ago, 205-319-0316. That's 205-319-0316. Tell them the guys from the Next Round sent you. I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. That is it. Hair has more than doubled in thickness. For more information, t3hair.net.
And inside the stat sheet today, brought to you by our friends at ImageCraft. When you got to print a bunch of stats, that's where you go.
You say tonight you'll watch those Alabama guys print it and run it across the court, right?
Nonstop.
All hard copies for Nate Oates. They need ImageCraft. ImageCraft wants you to print more, but spend less. They got all the brands: HP, Brother, Canon, Dell, Lexmark, Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Ricoh, Sharp, or Xerox. Same-day delivery on all in-stock items in the Birmingham Metro. Free shipping outside the Birmingham Metro. You can shop in-store in Trussville right there, next to the Pinnacle Shopping Center on Gadsden Highway, or online at imagecraft.net. In-store, TNR for 10% off. Online, TNR10 for 10% off when you visit imagecraft.net. ImageCraft. Print more, spend less.
What was the last Lunardi sheet we got? Was it before last night's game or after last night's game?
I referenced it earlier. It was before the game. What I referenced earlier were those 2 seeds.
Yeah.
I will see if he has updated one since, if you'll give me one moment.
Because I wanted to ask you, just how important it was. First of all, Kentucky annihilated LSU as they're supposed to. Otega Owe was back with 24 points, 8 rebounds, 95-64, no contest. LSU's not a tournament team. But the other 3 games that happened last night, so important. Texas getting that win, 87-82 in overtime. They almost let it slip away. On the road at Mississippi State, quality win for Texas. There's discussion that was a must-win for Texas to keep their hopes alive.
Keep hopes alive, but Lunardi had them going into last night as the 4th of the first 4 out. And I think we've learned over years, at least in his projections, it's hard to climb through that group.
Yeah, unless you get a massive win on the road.
Yeah, well, and they do have some work they could do in Nashville.
They could, assuming the committee is paying attention to that. I don't want to jump your script, but there's a problem with them climbing that group if you want to move to the next SEC game.
Well, Georgia won their 3rd straight.
Okay.
And Arkansas won as well. All those right on the bubble.
Yep. Arkansas was last 4 in, so that helps, right? Maybe they jump over Ohio State and Lunardi's. Georgia was last 4 buys. Georgia wasn't even in the play-in game. So
some are saying that is a lock now. Georgia is in.
According to Lunardi, I would have to think after last night it would be hard. I don't remember who they finished with, Georgia, before going to Nashville. But I would say it's pretty close to a lock right now.
I think Georgia's in. Back to what Dalen said, though. Like, last 10 games, it's not a criteria. It should matter. He kind of contradicted himself because teams like Oklahoma, they're not winning any games.
They're not. They just don't pay attention to it on the committee. I'm kind of with you. I would rather have a better team over the last 10. Since he brings up Oklahoma, that's what I was referencing. I didn't know if you're going to go to tonight's games. But Texas, for Lunardi, is 4th among the first 4 out. Oklahoma is the top of the first 4 out. And they play Missouri tonight, right? At home.
And it's a home game.
It's a home game. Big win for them.
I like Oklahoma a lot.
Well, that would be massive for them because, to me, Oklahoma over Missouri, even though at home, is a better win than Texas over Mississippi State. If you're just going to compare those 2 wins, that's going to do more for Oklahoma than it did for Texas to beat State.
If Ole Miss were able to beat Tennessee tonight in Oxford and Alabama was able to beat Florida in Tuscaloosa, regardless of what happens on Saturday down at Neville Arena between Alabama and Auburn,
I don't know.
Would that be enough to jump Alabama back ahead of Tennessee, in your opinion? It would be for me. I don't know if it would be for the selection committee.
Yeah, I don't know. That is a tough one right there.
They would have a full 2-game lead over Tennessee in the standings. I know they just lost head-to-head.
Yeah.
That was in Knoxville, though.
Buzzer
the way
beater.
that thing went down.
Even
coming out of the game, I think most people would agree, Alabama looks to be the better team than Tennessee.
I think Alabama is the better team, but when you watch a game like that, all you can really say is, boy, those teams are almost identical. That's like the lowest you could go, right?
Hey, and by the way, if they somehow won tonight and won Saturday, for people that are worried about that 1 seed, they would be a lock on the 1 line at that point. I don't even think they would be the last 1 seed.
See, and that's not what the telecast was telling you Saturday. And I'm not saying the telecast has any insight. They're just going by what Joe Lunardi has told them, I'm sure. But they were playing that up like this ends it. End of discussion. If Tennessee beats Alabama, Tennessee's the one. If Alabama beats Tennessee, then it's Alabama or Florida, depending on what happens Wednesday night in Tuscaloosa. When, again, they're playing for a 1 seed on ESPN.
This game is huge, though, because also
huge.
2 seed in Nashville, the SEC tournament. And, I'm not planning on going up till Thursday. I don't know about you guys.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to be there on Wednesday, but we got to work. But that Wednesday, those 4 games, they're basically playing games.
Dalen was right about that. I mean, there's going to be some very, very bubble important games played in Nashville for a lot of, not just the teams in Nashville, but for all those other bubble teams that need a Georgia to lose or need a Texas to lose.
I wonder how well those fan bases will travel, because you guys have been up there before. It's normally Kentucky, a lot of Tennessee,
a lot of Auburn,
and a lot of Alabama. But this year, when you have teams like Florida and Missouri and even Texas A&M and Ole Miss and Mississippi State, do you roll the dice on coming in for 1 game? And how long do you have the hotel for?
I'm glad it's in Nashville because I think it's a nice melting pot of fan bases up there where a lot of people don't have to travel. If I know I'm in the tournament, I got to save my money for the next week.
I think I would too, unless I just wanted to go to Nashville and I didn't care whether we won or lose.
Yeah, I got to go to the NCAA tournament.
I would find it very.
By the way, that is a perfect place for the SEC basketball tournament.
Nashville?
Yeah.
I agree.
By the way, this is just the world we live in. If you're a basketball fan, you've got to get your tickets from the site that you get sent to or the secondary market for the NCAA tournament. I think my buddy who's got a handful of season tickets to Auburn basketball, and he holds them all the time. I think he got an email that said that Auburn gets 350 tickets.
Yeah, schools don't get a whole lot.
To the NCAA tournament. 350 tickets, and they have to, out of that, take pep band and families tickets out of that 350.
So what, you have like 25 for random fans?
I heard one year.
You are down the list. I mean, you got to be one of the top donors to get those tickets if you want them.
I can't remember who I was talking to, but I think it was when both Auburn and Alabama were in Birmingham a couple of years ago, and I think the number I heard in that arena, which I think it was still 350 tickets at Legacy Arena, the number I heard that went to just actual fans that had no association with like coaching staff, band, or whatever was like 200 tickets.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my gosh, 200. How high do you have to be on a points list to get that?
I was with this guy, and he either has 4 or 8 season tickets.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's got 4. I think he has 8. But I was on the golf course with him when the email came through. And he's like, can you believe that if I want to go, and my other buddy had already bought tickets in Lexington just gambling.
Yeah, on the secondary market?
When they were released, he was like, I think we're going to be good. I'm going to buy tickets in Lexington and Atlanta.
Site,
and if not, I'll just sell them. Right?
You should be able
so
to,
he bought Lexington and Atlanta, and that's the way it may play out for Auburn. So he's sitting pretty.
But it seems like those tickets are always easy to get in the NCAA tournament outside of once you get to the Saturday Final Four. Those are obviously really
difficult. So your buddy
difficult.
that had 8, how many can he buy?
He right now can't buy any. He's on a list.
He's got 8, and they're good tickets,
yeah,
aren't they?
He's a donor too. So he's a donor. He's a season ticket holder, and it's only 350 strong. Or he may be able to get 2. I can't remember, but it was he was not happy about that email.
So let's go back 2 years ago. We were doing a Bud Light remote. We were down in uptown Birmingham. We were getting ready for both Alabama and Auburn in the first round of the tournament. What did those tickets go for? Because that was like special moment in time where you have both really good local teams playing at the same spot.
Those are big tickets.
And by the way, they were locals. That made it special, but they ended up sending them together to Spokane. And there's a belief that we'll be together in Lexington this year.
I think if they were both ones, they were absolutely together in Lexington. I think Alabama, if they're a 2, will probably be the best 2, which probably puts you close to home, don't you think?
Yeah.
What is that Lexington drive from here? 7 hours?
6 hours.
6. That's a pretty easy drive, too.
Yeah. You can go 2 ways. I used to do it all the time.
The question would be, is Alabama the 2 in Indianapolis? Because that was what it was looking like, is if Auburn gets the 1 and Alabama's another 1, Auburn is going to be Lexington, Atlanta. And a lot of people thought Alabama would be Lexington, Indianapolis. If Alabama's the 2, are they still Lexington, Indianapolis?
Yeah.
Which is the dream scenario.
because those are two pretty easy drives. You don't have to jump a plane for those.
Yeah, dream for the fan
Indiana,
bases.
easy drive. We did it.
Yeah.
It's easier than some of these other places where they are.
Easier than trying to fly in America today.
There's some tricks there.
Yeah.
Can I just quickly follow up on what you asked about Alabama being a 1 seed? They would have finished the season with a win over number 4 net and win over number 2 net right now. And it would bring their quad 1 win total in your scenario to 11-6, and Tennessee would be at 9-5. Quad 1 and 2, which they combine and look at, Alabama would be 19-6, and Tennessee would be 14-5. That would seem like you would put, as Scott shows you the net right there, seems like those numbers, if Alabama swept the rest of the season, would give them a strong case at being that last number 1, I think.
Yeah. I think Tennessee plays.
They play South Carolina.
South Carolina, easy win over the weekend.
I do not think Alabama's going to get a 1. I mean, if you guys had to say it right now, do you think they do?
Well, I think it's not likely they sweep these 2 games.
I don't think they win both of these.
Yeah.
But if they do,
I would be
I
happy
think
if they won one of them.
If they sweep them, Lance, I think they should be a 1.
Oh, if they sweep, yeah.
Yeah. That resume would be unbelievable.
That would be incredible.
If you missed Dalen, he says he believes the national champion comes out of the group of Auburn, Florida, and Alabama.
I think Greg Sankey would take that right now.
His words, not mine.
Yep.
Would you take that right now, Donald?
I would take that right now.
What if it's Florida?
Even if it's Florida, man. SEC.
Just roll the dice.
SEC. That would mean one of the others may be in the national championship game.
That's true.
Yeah, everybody references Big East. Remember, we went through that. One team made it past Sweet 16 in 11-12.
I do remember different seeding, but there were 3 Big East teams in Lexington, ironically, for that Final Four. Villanova,
St. John's,
Georgetown.
I was always pulling against that old Big East.
And ironically,
that old Big East.
Sonny Smith and Auburn was a win away from being there.
After he'd been fired.
Do you remember? Do you remember who the 4th team was?
The 4th team ended up being.
Didn't we talk about it, Memphis State?
It's so funny you say that because I was going to bring up back then it was Coach Finch in Memphis State with William Bedford and I think Kevin Lee.
They were 100% Memphis State back then. That was before they became Memphis.
Like everywhere you would reference it was. When did the state get peeled off? When they really sucked at football?
I think when they stopped being a state university.
I think in the Tommy West days they went to University of Memphis. And back in, you remember Tommy West?
Yeah, but
the football coach?
Is it, like if you go to any of their official, whether it's signage, anything on the buildings, is it referenced?
I have no idea. Are they not a state university?
No,
Are they private now?
Okay,
they're not private. I think somehow it changed. They changed something along the way. My mother-in-law was a Memphis State grad.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's almost like they got
some of them were not happy about dropping the state.
Oh, really?
They hired an agency to come in. Hey, well, let's just cut the state.
Well, I mean,
let's make it clean.
It makes you sound different, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the reason that southwestern Louisiana is now Lafayette.
Yeah, it's
University of Louisiana, Lafayette.
They're just Louisiana. They don't use Lafayette.
That's true.
It's
You're right.
just the University of Memphis.
It's University of Memphis now. It used to be Memphis State University.
Yep.
I think so.
Oh, no, 100% it did. I remember
that.
that.
I think University was at the end. So not only did they drop state, they moved University to the front.
Hey, whether it's the University of Memphis or Memphis State, there's still one problem.
What?
It's in Memphis.
All right. Show brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill. Trash coming up on the other side. Tell us about Hemp Hill, the heating, the cooling, but don't forget the plumbing.
Yeah, 205-229-2090. I've had all of those issues in my house. Trust me. The number to call, 205-229-2090. Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there, ready to serve you. Trust the name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of those issues. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
If you are a business that does a lot of printing, like a car dealership, mortgage company, real estate office, tax office, bank, school, or university, print more and spend less with ImageCraft. ImageCraft is located at 1151 Gadsden Highway in Trussville, just down from the Pinnacle Shopping Center, and online at imagecraft.net. They carry all the major brands like HP, Brother, Canon, Dell, Lexmark, Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Ricoh, Sharp, and Xerox. Shop in-store, mention TNR for a 10% discount. Shop online at imagecraft.net with coupon code TNR10. ImageCraft. Print more, spend less.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Since you listened to my last message so well and got rid of those cargo shorts and stained t-shirts, it's time to replace them with Rhoback. Go to Rhoback.com and click on the Refresh collection to find all that you need for an EG-approved wardrobe. It includes pieces that will have you ready to hit the golf course after a busy day of meetings, or comfy favorites for travel and working from home. Get 20% off using code TNR20. See, I'm saving you some money.
I'm attorney Alexander Shinar, Alabama born, Alabama raised, and ready to fight for your rights. I have one of the largest firms in Alabama, and we are here to help you get the compensation you deserve. Call me, Alabama, 323-1000.
Your representation is made that the quality of legal services being performed is greater than those of other lawyers.
Back with you on the next round. The show being brought to you today by our friends at Kodar Productions. Getting ready for a big event coming to town, Brownie.
Yeah, absolutely. Kodar Productions and Iron City present Brother Kane one night only, Saturday, March 15th. There at Iron City, Birmingham's own Brother Kane with special guest Cage Willis and Miles Morgan, Saturday, March 15th. You can get tickets now, IronCityBham.com.
What was their biggest song back in the day, Brother Kane?
I was telling Jack the story about it with Topper Price. Got No Shame.
Got No Shame. God, a good song.
And we'll get the story every time we have Damon Johnson. I got to get the story because it's incredible. If one person hasn't heard it, it's worth it. But the Topper Price thing it really is priceless.
Yeah, look forward to that big event coming up. LeBron James is the only member now of the 50,000-point club in the NBA. He went over the mark last night. We talk about records sometimes that will never be broken. Hard to imagine that one ever being broken.
Yeah, guys just probably won't play long enough with the money that's on the table now and be as good as LeBron.
I've got some numbers here. Kevin Durant is the closest active player. Durant's 36 years old, and he's 15,000 points behind him.
Yeah, that's probably a lot to make up there.
Yeah, 15,000 behind him.
And I would think Durant's only got a couple of years left.
Luka, by the way, beat LeBron to 12,000 points. He was faster to 12,000. Luka, when asked about it, says, "Don't look for me to do it.
Yeah,
I will be way before there. I'll be back on my farm in, where's he from? Slovakia, Slovenia. Yeah.
Yeah. So
the Mavericks say Luka's gonna be dead. By then.
He's gonna explode.
That's right. It's going to the
I
Mavericks.
saw one of the
Even
best.
he says, I will way before I even get close. I will be back on my farm in my country.
Somebody sent out on Twitter X, Dirk Nowitzki, like bloodshot eyes, like drooling, hanging on chicks, and they're like, this is the guy that won a championship for the Mavericks, and the Mavericks are dogging out Luka.
No, exactly.
But I mean, these guys make too much money, and like LeBron is a one of a kind. Like really, really is dedicated to the off-season work, what his body's got to be. I mean, it would take like a Tom Brady. I mean, Tom Brady was one of these guys that not only was incredible, but really was so focused on the longevity of the career. And I just don't think you're going to see that with a lot of these young athletes. I mean, half of them don't even like the game.
It's a great point. God, who did I see? Somebody said a quote. Oh, it was a woman's golfer the other day. It was at an LPGA event. I can't remember her name now, but they were like, so we see you're running marathons now. She goes, I love training for the long runs, the marathons and stuff. Does that just coincide with your training for golf? And she's like, I don't train for golf. I train for this, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, God, this is your living.
I know. One's paying you nothing.
But the other one is, you can see her eyes brighten up about the running. Running.
I'm sure it becomes a really big job. As much as we love playing golf, it becomes a job.
No, I mean,
like anything else.
The other day when I shot 83, I told Maggie, I said, God, if I could do this for a living. And she goes, you think shooting 83 at Bent Brook pays well? I said, it does not. It does not. I won $3 today.
I was about to say, you can't even win with your group on the course.
No. I won $3.
Yeah,
it was $3.
Maggie, I got $3. I was plus $3 dots.
Yeah. And I lost $21 yesterday. So on the week,
that's right.
I am a negative 18. Losing money. It's
do you have
bad job?
Do you have to call her on the way home from the course?
Give her the report
and tell her how bad it was?
No, it rings. She gets a notification.
You send the Zelle?
Yeah, she gets a notification. So,
any Venmo going to you gets popped up on her.
What did you just spend $18 on?
Golf.
I had lost to Mike Kennedy in the wind yesterday. All right, it is time for Trash. It is brought to you by Mortgage Right. Tyler, what do we have, man?
So, what was your inspiration for tonight? Be honest with me and go into detail.
Wow.
I think this played last Wednesday.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Why are you doing that to Dunaway, Tyler? You know he hates that one.
Hey, back to a Scorsese film, A Wolf of Wall Street. You remember how Donnie and Brad got sideways?
Yeah.
That's you and Dunaway. Y'all are the Donnie and Brad now.
Yeah, he's definitely the Jonah Hill in this
Whoa,
situation.
that made it worse right there.
I have lost weight, and I'm very talented, so thank you.
Hey, you got to say, though, Jonah Hill was the best character in that movie, right?
Oh, he was, yeah.
He was incredible.
Margot Robbie, best to look at.
And by the way, wouldn't surprise me if you were mic'd, if you were bugged.
Nah, that was somebody else.
Buying season, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Veteran founded here in Birmingham, offer loans throughout the country. While the area they serve may have grown, their commitment to Birmingham and veterans has not changed. Before you take those next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You can get more information, go to the website, mortgageright.com. You can call 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. For the second time in less than a year, a man has been charged with attempting to engage in a sexual act with a seat on the Metrolink.
Poor seat. Completely unsuspecting.
St. Louis County prosecutors charged D'Angelo Covington on Tuesday with 2 counts, misdemeanor sexual misconduct. He is currently confined in county jail without bond pending a March 3rd reduction hearing. Now, according to police...
But have you seen the cushion on those armrests? I mean...
He's got a little Delonte West meets Blake Griffin.
Yep,
So
you got it.
I don't understand how this even works.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get there. Prosecutors charged in the probable cause statement that a victim told investigating officers February 13th she saw Covington At that time, he allegedly had his genitals exposed, was moving them around until the victim boarded the train. Later that day, police learned that Covington boarded the train at the Central West End Station. He allegedly exposed himself and attempted a sexual act for about 10 minutes with the upper bar of a train seat.
10 minutes, Jim.
Upper bar, though.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Now, both of the
I'm a lower
incidents
bar guy, but, you know.
caught on surveillance video, according to police. Wouldn't you hate to have to watch these videos?
I would. I'm going to watch maybe 10 seconds of that and say I'll assume he did it for the other 9 minutes, 50 seconds.
The charges filed Tuesday come 10 weeks after Covington was released from the county jail on another sexual misconduct charge in June that happened on, you guessed it, another Metrolink train. Now, in that case, the engineer boarded the train and saw Covington with his genitals exposed, attempting to engage in sexual activity with a seat. I mean, this guy's got a type, right?
He does.
Yeah.
He loves the seats.
Yeah.
I like that they were like, all right, we're going to do an artsy mugshot. Just look into the distance like you're thinking about a train seat. Oh, yeah.
Hey, when does it really get to a point where you're like, man, that seat looks good?
Well, I mean, we're going to get past.
I guess after couches.
Yeah, we're going to get past a lot of things.
To more extreme things.
Yeah, a lot of things.
2 men arrested in England after allegedly destroying a beloved Paddington Bear statue, according to authorities.
Why would you do that?
So wrong. So wrong. Monday, March 13th, Daniel Heath, William Lawrence, both 22, were each charged with 1 count of criminal damage, according to a press release shared by the police. Police allege the men cut and stole the front part of the statue of the popular children's book character from the Northbrook Street in Newbury, England, around 2 a.m. on Sunday. The theft left the hollow backside of the statue behind on the bench. Both men released on conditional bail, expected to appear in court March 25th. Now, the statue of the Peruvian bear, who was seated on a bench holding a marmalade sandwich. Any mayonnaise on that sandwich there, Tyler?
No. Paddington just likes marmalade and bread.
Okay.
Orange marmalade.
Paddington Bear has been adapted into British television series, 3 films, including its most recent, Paddington in Peru, which was released in U.S. theaters in January. I'm going to assume you've seen it?
Yeah, I did. I thought the first 2 movies were better.
So is this like The Revenant? Did they crawl inside the bear skin?
For warmth?
For warmth?
So I'm going to assume 2 a.m. they were definitely drunk.
Yeah, I'd have guessed.
Didn't report that.
This is pathetic, man. I bet the kids in that community loved going and sitting next to Paddington Bear. And now look what they got. They're going to be horrified when they see it. I like the
They skinned him alive.
I like the Berenstain Bears better. Do you remember them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was a kid. You didn't like them?
Didn't like either one.
I was a little kid. Did you like
you
Winnie
like
the Pooh?
Goldilocks and the Three Bears?
That's an okay story. I thought that there was a hole in the plot, and I can't remember what the hole in the plot was.
Well, they didn't kill her. I mean, they would have ripped her to pieces, right?
Terrible kid story at that point.
We ought to go back and redo dark children's stories or make them dark.
Well, there is a company that does that. They turned Winnie the Pooh into a horror movie.
That was a trash story. I remember that.
There's a Bambi one coming out, Pinocchio.
Yeah. The Bambi one Bambi's got the gun.
It's really
interesting.
The deer gets the gun.
Really interesting.
I'll tell you what's really good is the venison sausage, deer dogs.
Yeah.
Those are delicious.
What if Bambi ends up working at Wesley's Booby Trap?
That'd be real weird.
I heard that's closed forever.
I think you probably would too if you lost your mom at a young age.
Yep.
It's a good line, Jim.
It's a long story.
Probably happens a lot.
I heard that place is closed forever, though. No joke. Like it is never reopening. I think that was being discussed. I think it was being discussed in the chat room.
I mean, there's the Playboy Mansion is closed forever, right?
I do believe, yeah.
Yeah, somebody bought that out and wants to preserve it as like a historical landmark and
why not
do anything with it.
Yeah, you're probably overstating its importance at that point.
Set up tours. You got a lazy river. What do you do?
Well, they don't want to let anybody in. They just want the building.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you can let this guy in. I mean, can you imagine the seats? The guy that got arrested for the lovemaking of the seats on the metro.
This one's sticky already.
On the tram in the Playboy Mansion, he would be in.
The Paddington Bear, though, what do you tear this? I mean, they tore the ass out of the bear.
They did. I don't know. I don't know what you do with that.
See, and I thought it was a statue, but it doesn't look like a statue based on that. It looks more like a fiberglass.
Yeah,
just like a hollow sculpture.
Yeah, I think obviously you've got a naked bear going around now.
Okay, interesting story here. Some inmates in the Galveston County Jail now wearing bright pink jumpsuits instead of the traditional green uniforms. All inmates will eventually wear the new look. The Galveston County Sheriff's Office cited 4 reasons for the switch to safety pink jumpsuits. First, to discourage recidivism.
Oh, we do not want that.
Not in prison.
Nope. I'm glad Galveston's on top of the anti-recidivism.
To enhance visibility for corrections officers and identifying potential threats.
That would help.
Number 3, to create a calming atmosphere because the color pink is believed to help alleviate feelings of anger.
Right.
They like they're getting along.
Yeah, look at those blurred hands right there, though. He's flipping us too, isn't he?
Yep. And finally, to foster a more positive environment inside of the jail.
Yeah, probably not going to work.
Now,
so pink works better than yellow or
orange,
blue.
Yeah, I mean there is deep research where different colors do different things. I mean, what was it? Fast food restaurants, you wanted something that
red
was
and yellow.
I thought there was something more calming to keep people there. I forgot.
Red and yellow gets your attention on signs. That's why McDonald's is red and yellow.
But Hayden Fry used to have a pink locker room for the opposing team, right?
He did, because he thought it got them off their game. Like they spent so much time thinking about it was pink.
So Galveston County Jail said that inmates were the first to wear the pink hot uniforms, volunteered for a group photo. Galveston County isn't the first Texas jail to think pink. New sheriff in Mason County, northwest of Austin, made the switch back in 2006. Wasn't just the jumpsuits. Inmates also wore pink slippers, slept under pink sheets while surrounded by pink walls and pink bars. 3 county inmates in jail told the AP in 2006 they didn't even want to go outside on work details where people would see them.
Well, that's going to be a problem right there. We're going to need you on the work details.
Sheriff Clint Lowe claimed back then that the rate of repeat offenders dropped 70% when he switched to pink. He said the pink walls also kept tempers in check and there were no more fights between inmates when they were painted.
It seems to me like I think I would want to just color the uniforms on aggressiveness, who I should keep an eye on.
Yeah, based on the level of the crime. Like, your petty theft, you wear yellow. This guy over here, he's a serial killer. He's going to be a purple.
Yeah.
We're going to keep an eye on the purples.
You know,
right?
I may not agree with the colors, but, you know, but it seems like if Lance is aggressive, I'd want the aggressive guys to be in a certain color.
I agree.
The passive guys who are working a lot.
That's right.
Helping to keep the peace.
You know what you could even do? You could even earn your colors, like Lance. If you don't have an aggressive outburst for 5 weeks, you're going to be able to move to green.
Everybody's going to want black.
Yeah.
You know they
will
will.
take you from red to yellow.
That's right. Yeah, I mean
you'll be cautioned at that point.
Yeah, you can be incentivized.
Not stopped.
Yeah.
So thanks to Paramount.
And then I guess there could still be a few pinks in there.
Well, that could be, yeah.
Yeah. Very passive.
Thanks to Paramount Plus, you no longer have to scour YouTube to find your favorite MTV Unplugged performances. That's right. Streamers added more than 100 episodes of Unplugged, as well as VH1 Storytellers
I used to love those.
and CMT Crossroads. I will say that I've gone and I've sought out Behind the Music.
That's the one I want.
Yeah.
I was about to ask you, is MTV's Behind the Music?
I've done the Behind the Music. I've never, tried to find one of the Unplugged
Did you ever watch
performances.
Behind the Music, Tyler?
All the time.
Oh, that was
great.
fantastic. Every band broke up, and you just waited on that commercial break. When we come back. Yeah, I mean, it was always, all right, here we go.
It's going really well,
Yeah.
and then things couldn't be better for Poison until that one night.
When we come
right
back.
before the commercial break, it's always like they're at their pinnacle
Their
of
apex,
success.
that's right.
And then
We're gonna figure
when we
out.
come back,
Yeah.
see what happens.
Here's
to
how it
Nikki
falls
Sixx.
apart.
Now, if you find yourself in the mood to peruse through a collection of MTV Unplugged sets, seasons 1 through 8 and 10 through 13 now available. So season 9 is just the shipwrecked, lost, kind of like the Auburn, Kentucky game. I mean, really, 1 through 8, 10 through 13 available, including
your 9 must have been some awful performances.
Nirvana's iconic November 1993 performance, released just 7 months before the death of Kurt Cobain. Some other notable performances included season 1 sets by Neil Young, Sinead O'Connor, Lenny Kravitz, Elton John, Shawn Mendes, and Pearl Jam. I would think Shawn Mendes is old enough to do one of these.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that.
It sounds like season 9 LT. Somebody didn't want to sell the rights to their music.
I imagine that's what happened because when they would replay a lot of the episodes they do have, it would just be the same 4 or 5 on repeat.
Yeah.
Now, season 5 Unplugged highlights include Bob Dylan, Tony Bennett, Stone Temple Pilots. Season 6 got Kiss and Sheryl Crow. Just a lot of different acts
All right,
in there.
here's
Per the
season
release,
9.
more than 70 of the episodes have not been available for more than 20 years. Now, on the CMT Crossroads collection, real quick, Brown, before you get to that.
Sure thing.
Includes sets by Sheryl Crow and Willie Nelson, Melissa Etheridge and Dolly Parton, Doobie Brothers and Luke Bryan, Sting and Vince Gill. I remember randomly, because I didn't watch a lot of the Crossroads, but I remember Taylor Swift with Def Leppard.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that one?
Yeah. Her mom and dad were huge Def Leppard fans, so she heard that music growing up. and she did a really good job in that episode. And they sang a couple of her songs too, but she was really good in a couple of their songs.
Season 9.
Really good one.
Kid Rock.
Okay, it seems like he'd
be
all
okay
about
on
it.
it.
Yep.
It fell apart after that. Rat, Pantera.
Well, Round and Round is one of the greatest 80s rock songs of all time.
Yeah, that's one song. Pantera, Nick Lachey, and Alberto y los Trios Paranoia.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably can ditch Season 9.
I think that's the one we're not
really,
going to Season 9.
Is that the mariachi band from Breaking Bad?
Well, that's just
so really it's not that somebody didn't sign their rights away. It's just it was such a crappy season.
I think so.
We're not even going to stream this one.
Yeah.
Of course, now it probably will be in demand. People are going to be like, damn, I can't get Season 9.
I mean, you've at least got Pantera in there, but I don't want to hear an unplugged Pantera set.
Yeah, negative.
Season 9 ends up being that producer got fired. That year, they're like, oh,
that's all we can book?
Tony at Season 9. Are you kidding me?
Get
Get out of here. You're not back for Season 10.
Our season finale is Alberto y los Paranoias?
Who was on Season 10? Who did we start season?
Shoot,
it was hanging in a balance. That first episode of Season 10 was huge.
Season 10's it's got to be like Elton John.
Yeah,
I mean, it's got to be
Season 10 had to be
big.
somebody huge. Hey, they're about to cancel us if we don't get a number on Season 10.
All right, here we go. Season 10, as soon as it'll pull up. There's only one New Kids on the Block.
That
was it. Season 10. So big, they just kept moving. Season 11, Lil Wayne, Pink, Bobby Brown, Brett Michaels, T.I., and 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They came on
Season
strong.
11.
Season
Wow,
11.
they had to regroup. So they went into Season 10 and they were like, New Kids on the Block. Okay, we're firing everyone.
Yes.
Let's start from scratch.
Yeah.
Oh,
Canceled.
Season 12, DMX, Christina Aguilera, Eve, Courtney Love, Jennifer Hudson, Jennifer Lopez, Usher, Fantasia
Eve,
Barrino.
underrated Eve. Would just be good.
Fantasia Barrino.
Yeah.
American Idol. Not even a winner, though.
Oh, I know. I remember.
Yeah.
That is Trash Today, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
If you are looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned home buying veteran, their great service and low rates make the process so easy. Speaking of veterans, veteran founded right here in Birmingham. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home, your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. Visit them online, mortgageright.com. Call that Birmingham Highway 280 office, 205-900-7200.
Alabama wins tonight. If Florida wins tonight, after I tell you, Champies brings you this final hour, 119 in Alabaster, Highway 119, right off the I-65 exit. It is right close by there. Easy to get to. Destination place. Best chicken in town. Champies Chicken. Brined overnight cooked to order. Mississippi Delta recipe tamales and so much more. It's champieschicken.com. Alabama wins
If they hit double-digit threes, 40% plus, they're going to have to hit their shots tonight because Florida is going to score.
If they keep playing defense the way they have the last few games, their defense has improved against Kentucky and even in the loss against Tennessee.
Yeah, what's a good defensive effort against such a good offensive team? Hold them under 80?
85.
85?
If you held them in the 70s.
Yeah. 70s would be great.
That'd be fantastic.
Good luck with that.
I look forward to that one tonight, 6 o'clock, ESPN2 postgame afterwards on the Next Round platform. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.